The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Don't let go of the rope. Aaron Glenn has fired Tanner Engstrand. So the Jets fired their DC. They fired their OC. But hey, all is well. We have Aaron Glenn, baby. Let's go.
Live from the 2026 Senior Bowl from Hancock Whitney Stadium, Mobile, Alabama, as your New York Jets look for their next superstars. Some of your favorite analysts and special guests will join Jake to break it all down. Get ready, Asmaniacs. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go. I'm not live from where the Senior Bowl practice is right now. I stayed in the Airbnb because the Jets are the Jets, and they have fired Tanner Engstrand. So the Jets, who were about to replace Engstrand as the play caller with potentially Frank Reich, they now have decided, we're not just going to replace Tanner Engstrand as the play caller, but let him remain as the OC. No, we're going to fire him as well. And again, I can't sit here and say I'm surprised. If you're Aaron Glenn and a year ago you're touting how great your coaching staff is and that you got Engstrand to buy into what you were preaching and come with you from Detroit where he was the pass game coordinator under Ben Johnson, and you're going to give him his first opportunity to be the play caller, and then this year goes as bad as it goes, but you put it on him and you say, well, I was awful as a head coach, but I'm going to blame you, Steve Wilks. Get rid of him. I'm going to blame you, Tanner Engstrand. I'm not going to get rid of you. I'm going to just find someone who's going to do your job. Then what do you expect from Tanner Engstrand? I'm sure Engstrand said to Glenn, F this, fire me. That's my feel on this. My initial reaction is there's no way Tanner Engstrand was just going to sit there and allow Frank Reich to come in and be the offensive coordinator. I just saw a report from SNY that Glenn's pitches to the veteran coaches he was pursuing was that he was looking for a head coach of the offense. So, again, if you're looking for the head coach of an offense, what is Tanner Engstrand's role? He got demoted. It was never going to work. You don't want that demotion to happen and then keep the guy you demoted in this environment you're trying to foster. So I'm not surprised at all that this happened. Because how were Tanner Engstrand and Frank Reich going to coexist? And again, it sounds like it's going to be Frank Reich because I don't think this happens unless Glenn has someone that he knows is going to take the job, right? But maybe I'm giving Aaron Glenn too much credit. Again, Aaron Glenn was the most obvious one-and-done fire that should have happened. I mean, it's funny. Talking to everyone here at the Senior Bowl, the Jets are the biggest joke. They are the biggest punchline. And it's embarrassing. It stinks to be a fan because we all deserve better. I mean, Aaron Glenn, a year ago, touted his staff, and a big reason why he was hired by Mike Tannenbaum of the 33rd team recommending him to Woody Johnson was because of his ability to put together a coaching staff. He fired 7 assistant coaches and both coordinators on each side of the football. Why is the head coach still here? Again, letting Aaron Glenn now hire another OC and now replace all these assistant coaches, you're not going to get quality coaches. No one's going to take this job when the perception is that you're a sinking ship because you are. And I honestly think Tanner Engstrand, well, he wasn't great. How could you be great when you have the 29th ranked offense and the 32nd ranked passing attack? If you watch the All-22 film, which we do every week on this show, you see guys being schemed open. You see some offensive creativity. Why not bring in someone to help him rather than just pull the plug on a young, up-and-coming coach? Again, am I losing sleep over Tanner Engstrand if they fired him and replaced him with Cliff Kingsbury? No. But Frank Reich is not Cliff Kingsbury. Frank Reich was not an offensive, Frank Reich was not a successful offensive coach in his most recent stops. Stanford, Carolina, the end of his Colts tenure. His success, he was on the Eagles staff with Doug Peterson. He was the offensive coordinator. They won the Super Bowl. He wasn't the play caller. So again, to go from Engstrand to Frank Reich, that's not an upgrade. That's not an upgrade. How does that help the Jets? It just makes you look like a bigger clown show. The Jets just continue to look like a total joke by doing this. I just got a text from someone who covers a different NFL team. Glenn firing everyone besides himself. I mean, again, that's how it's being looked at right now. The coach goes 3-14, so he fires everyone but the guy who should have been fired himself. And this is on the owner now. You realize how many different play callers the Jets have now had once Frank Reich takes over, assuming it's him? They will have their 13th different play caller in the last 16 years. It's unbelievable. It's so embarrassing to fire Engstrand here. But again, it was never going to work when you say, well, we're going to demote the OC, but he's still going to be the OC. Like that's insulting, and that makes you look like a clown show operation. Teams around the league notice this stuff. Coaches around the league notice this stuff. They notice how you treat your coaches. Again, I know fans maybe don't care about this, but as someone who's in media who hears this stuff and had Aaron Wilson on, who broke the story last week about the 7 assistants who were fired, they weren't fired weeks ago. They found out on Friday that they were fired. So you had these guys just basically with their futures up in the air, not knowing if they were employed or not. I'm sure they had an idea if they were going to be back or not, but they still were kind of just twiddling out there in the wind. So then you fire 7 assistants on Friday, and it leaks out that Engstrand's role is going to change, but he's going to stay on the staff, and now he's gone. Yeah, like, again, you leave these coaches in limbo, and then they get fired a month basically after the season ended almost. Like, it's a poor way to conduct business. You know what I mean? Like, fans, I get it. Nobody cares. Just win games, right? But if you want to attract good coaches, when you let Charles London and all the other assistants basically just live in limbo since the Jet season ended, and then you fire them with a Friday news dump, it gets out, it's a bad look. And it's a bad look that, we're going to keep Engstrand and then we fire him. Like, again, how could Woody Johnson just sit here and allow this to happen? It's mind-boggling. Glenn was hired because of his ability to attract good coaches, hire a good staff. He was going to be the CEO of the team. He can't do anything well as a head coach. There's not one thing Aaron Glenn does well as a head coach, so we're going to trust that he's going to be able to hire a good staff. The latest report last night was, Wink Martindale might not happen, so it's going to be Chris Harris as the DC with Glenn as the de facto defensive coordinator. He'll call the plays. We're going to put more on Aaron Glenn's plate? And it's not like he was even a good defensive coordinator in Detroit. He wasn't. Go check the numbers. In fact, don't wait to check them on your own. I'll do it for you guys. So we're going to have a new OC. It's probably going to be Frank Reich, who has not been relevant in football the last couple of years. He's been out of the NFL. Now he's going to come in and be the guy that's going to be this great offensive mind for who's the quarterback? Carson Wentz? We're getting the band back together? So that's the offensive side of the ball in all likelihood. Then the defensive side of the ball, take a look. Look at the numbers here. These aren't good numbers. He's had one good year where he was a good defensive coordinator. One. And how much is the success of the Lions defense that year? Because they had the best offense in the league, and it's easier to be a good defensive coach when you have that set up. Everyone knows that. It really is just depressing, man. It really is. It is depressing to be a fan of this team right now. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say, Tanner Engstrand is amazing. How could they do this? But it's just the way it's being done makes you look like you don't have a plan. You don't know what you're doing. Wink Martindale, that's the plan. Then that falls apart. Now Glenn's all of a sudden going to call the defense. It's like they're making it up as they go along. This guy has no clue what he's doing. It's so obvious. How could the Jets think? How could they think that their leader has any idea what he's doing? Engstrand, I guarantee you, will get another job immediately. Ben Johnson will hire him on his staff. Dan Campbell will bring him back to Detroit. Like, this this guy was considered a young, up-and-coming coach. And what did Aaron Glenn do in year one that warrants him a year two now, if we think back to his first year, right? Year one was about laying the foundation, he said, building something that could be sustainable going forward. They didn't build anything. They tore it down and made it worse. And there's not even like this shiny quarterback at the end of the rainbow here. Fernando Mendoza goes 1, the Jets are there at 2, and there's no quarterback for them to select in that spot. So we don't even have that, right? We don't even have like, all right, it was awful, but at least we have this quarterback now. We don't even have that at all. What was established in year one? What was accomplished? Over 50% of your coaching staff is being turned over. You have a new DC. You have a new OC, which means there's going to be, obviously, new schemes that are being implemented now on both sides of the ball. You don't even have a sustainable scheme or a playbook that the players know, hey, this is what we're about, so now we have some continuity going into year two. You don't have that now. And again, like, does the O-line coach remain? Do all these other offensive assistants who are here under Engstrand, are they staying on? I mean, you already had to replace the quarterback coach and Scott Turner, the pass game coordinator. But, like, it's just such a mess right now. And as teams are filling out their assistant coaches, the Jets are now just starting their OC search, which means they now have to comply with the Rooney Rule. They can't just hire Frank Reich. They're going to have to interview at least one minority candidate, I believe is the rule for coordinators. It's such a mess. It's such a bad look. It just shows you have no plan whatsoever for what this is supposed to be. Again, I go back to something Mike Tannenbaum said, and I do a radio show with Mike, and I have absolutely brought this up to him. But Mike has always talked about how the head coach's responsibility is to hire a good staff, and Connor Hughes has the receipts here. Here's Jets head coach Aaron Glenn from last year's NFL Combine on his coaching staff. Mike Tannenbaum, who was among the main voices in leading the Jets to Glenn, stressed his staff hiring as one of his strongest traits. One of his strongest traits is his staff hiring. How wrong could you be about this guy? Do you not ask Aaron Glenn in the interview process, hey, who are your coaches going to be? Oh, you're going to hire Steve Wilkes, who's been one and done his last 5 stops and was at a football in 2024? Does that come up in the conversation with Woody Johnson there? Here's the quote from Glenn, though. Quote, compatibility is sometimes as important as coachability, and that's the one thing that I've tried to do right when I was trying to assemble this staff, and I wanted to make sure I took my time in doing that because I want to make sure that every coach on the staff is going to give us the best chance to win and be able to coach the player right. That's what's important to me, man. How are the players going to relate to all these coaches? And listen, every coach I have is not the biggest name coach, right? And I actually like that because I think a lot of times in this arena, we go get named coaches, right? But there are a lot of good coaches in the league, from high school to Division II to the big colleges, even some assistants on other teams. And I tried to make sure I vet that out as much as I could. Again, Aaron Glenn, awful in-game management. Awful at the end of each half, which he said belonged to the head coach. Awful with clock management. The Jets, how about this for a stat? Not only did they tie for the worst record in the NFL this season, but their point differential, negative 203, was the league's worst since 2021. The Jaguars. That was the Urban Meyer-led Jaguars in 2021. Worst point differential in the league since then. Glenn talking about the final 4 minutes of each half belong to the head coach. The Jets were outscored 119-59 in the final 4 minutes of each half. Everything this guy said he would do as a coach. Coaching, man, it's coaching. Yeah, he's right. He doesn't know how to do any of it, though. That's the problem.
Coaching. It's coaching. What do you mean? Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
Again, sticking with Glenn for another year. At this point, like, what's the point in trying to find someone else? All these other teams have taken openings. Sean McDermott's not coming here right now. The perception of the Jets that they fired Glenn right now, you're not getting any good candidate. You're not. So at this point, because Woody waited too long and there's no plan, there's no direction, and you're looked at as a clown show, we are stuck with Aaron Glenn for another year. He will go out there and win 4 games or less. He will be fired. I doubt he even makes it through all of next year in all likelihood, because if he starts 1-5, you think he's not going to be fired like Brian Callahan just was? So when that happens, the Jets will hopefully be picking near the top of the draft. They'll have the 3 ones in 2027, and they will be in position to get a quarterback and pair that quarterback up with a head coach. The only positive I could say for the Jets is Muji is at least perceived by NFL people in a positive light. Maybe he could have a good draft this year. They got 4 picks in the top 44. Build up the roster. Make the team as good as it could possibly be for the next head coach. Because anyone who thinks this somehow ends positively with Aaron Glenn hiring Frank Reich and they rehire all these assistants and they're going to be a good team next year with who at quarterback, come on. All right. What's Aaron Glenn's plan? We won't know. We're just flying by the seat of our pants, baby. But we got to trust him. Trust me, bro.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me and have faith in what we're doing.
Like, does anyone actually think any of this is normal? Like, honestly, if you're a Glenn bootlicker out there, what do you think of this? Do you think this is normal? Do you think this is how teams conduct business? Do you think it's normal to go 3-14, fire both your offensive and defensive coordinators, but the head coach remains? Do you think that's normal? Do you think any other team in the league would do this? Do you think any other team in the league would allow the head coach who went 3-14 to fire both of his coordinators and replace them? Glenn is so far over his head. Anyone who is defending this, anyone who's saying, oh, he has to do this, this is what you got to do. No. You just watched one of the worst seasons of all time. By DVOA, by the win total, by the eye test, point differential, all of it. None of this is normal. He was supposed to lay the foundation in year 1. He fired both his coordinators after year 1. They started 0-7 when they were, quote, trying to win. They had won some games by beating 3 backup quarterbacks. Then they ended the year not only losing 5 in a row, but being the first team in the history of the NFL to lose 5 consecutive games by 23 points or more. None of what we watched is normal. None of it. Again, it shows you have no direction, no plan. The Jets season ended in early January. It ended a month ago, basically. And now Tanner Engstrand's out because, of course, he's out. You're talking to other coaches about replacing him. He's not going to go from OC to be quarterback coach. Of course he's out. I'm sure Tanner is thrilled to be out. It's the best thing to happen to him. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what this means? This is the earliest that we have ever started the tank for the following year, but the March for Arch is officially on. That's where this is headed, folks. JakeAsman.com. At least get a shirt if you're going to rep the Jets this year. I wore my Tank for Art shirt yesterday. Got some funny looks on the plane down here to Mobile. But get ready, folks, because Aaron Glenn now has one job. He is our tank commander. Because what else is the point of the 2026 Jet season? Frank Reich is not saving the day. Wink Martindale is not saving the day. Glenn calling the defense is not going to save the day. He was not good at calling the defense in Detroit. He wasn't. The numbers back it up. Lions fans detested Aaron Glenn as their DC. We've had some of those fans on. Again, the Jets are entering into the double tank, and they don't even have to try and do it. They'll just be bad on their own. We have our tank commander, Aaron Glenn, leading us, and it all makes sense, baby. It all makes sense.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Don't let go. Tanner Engstrand, he let go. That's why he was fired. Don't you dare let go. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. So I'm here in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, right? I'm in my Airbnb right now. I swear to God, I'm staying with Dom C. and Dylan Terraman, who were both on our show this morning when we did our show from the media center. I said to them, I go, I'm going to go to practice, but I have a funny feeling something crazy with the Jets will happen. So if that's the case, I'll Uber back to the apartment so I could, do a show. And as we're about to leave, Dylan had already left. It's just me and Dom. I checked my phone and I see the Schefter tweet about Engstrand being fired. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I didn't even get to go to practice, which started at 1:30 local time out here. There's 2 of them. So we'll see how long this show goes, but we'll have Dom and Dylan on the show tomorrow to recap day 1 of Senior Bowl practice. 1:30 to 3:30 is the national team. 4 to 6 is the American team. These times are in Central. So I won't have any Senior Bowl takeaways that I have seen, at least from the national practice that's going on right now. But, the Jets are the Jets. I mean, it's unbelievable. And honestly, good for Tanner Engstrand again. If he told him to fire him, good. Because, again, Nothing that is happening here is normal. You have head coach vacancies being filled. Teams have already announced their new coordinators that didn't have head coach openings, right? Mike McDaniel did his press conference today with the Chargers. And the Jets now, by firing Engstrand, now have to restart their OC search. Probably every team will have their head coaches locked in before the Jets can lock in their new OC. Again, nothing about what happened here with Engstrand is normal. And what's funny is some of the Glenn bootlickers said, oh, well, Jake, you said, what does Aaron Glenn do well? He hired 2 good coordinators. He hired 1, right? I would always say Banjo was excellent. He listened to the recommendation of Mike Westhoff, and Glenn hired him. Great hire. When people would bring up Engstrand, I go, I don't know. I can't say he's awful. I'd say it's incomplete. I'd fire him in 2 seconds if I can get a clear upgrade. If you can get me Cliff Kingsbury, for example, or Brian Dable, who is now back with Robert Saleh. The 2 fired New York coaches are going to resurrect the Tennessee Titans. But that was always my response. Now, anyone out there still trying to defend this inept, horrible, one of the worst head coaches of all time, like, what do you say now? Because part of your defense was, well, he hired Engstrand and Banjo. Yeah, the Wilkes hire was bad, but look at that. You can't even say that now. You can't say that. They are an abject disaster. And we're the ones as fans who suffer from all this. As every other team in the league laughs at us. As we watch the Patriots play in the Super Bowl on Sunday, who had a one-and-done coach a year ago and moved on and knew what they needed to do. Instead, we're the ones who are stuck with Glenn for another year until they're saying, who would take the job? If you acted swiftly when all these teams were making openings and you sold a candidate on, hey, control, 5 ones, $100 million in cap space this year, another $100 million next year, you could have got someone. Now we're stuck with Glenn for another year. And we can hope next year there's a quarterback at the end of the tunnel, but we don't know that. What if Arch Manning stays in school? What if none of these guys play that well? This year was supposed to be a great quarterback class too. So you never know. That's just like me trying to be optimistic because I'm naturally optimistic. I know people think I'm negative, but I'm really not. I've just been so beaten down by this team. I'm not giving them a pass anymore. And this is as bad as it has ever been. Ever. Because this is not normal. To fire Tanner Engstrand on January 27th, when the Jets season ended the first week of January, is embarrassing. Shows you that the head coach had no plan, no feel, had no idea what he was doing. Other teams don't do this. This doesn't happen. This is not normal. The Wink reporting, too. It feels like Woody got cold feet on Wink. He probably cut the spending off and said, I'm not giving him all this money. We'll give him a 1-year deal. You're a defensive head coach. You call the plays. And I bet you that's what happened now. And if Woody's already doing that, if that's true, then he should have just fired Aaron Glenn already because then you have no faith in the guy. Again, the whole thing is a total mess. And we're the ones, again, as Jet fans, who pay the price. We're the ones who have to sit here, and we're the ones that have to deal with the consequences of this disastrous franchise. And it's sickening. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Dan, the Jet fan, starts it off. I find it funny they're firing Glenn's hand-picked staff after year 1, and he gets to pick a new one before he clearly gets canned. It's embarrassing. Fire Aaron Glenn says, need to part ways with Glenn too. Yeah, Aaron Glenn should have been fired the second they got off the plane coming back from Buffalo. Immediately. He should have been gone like that. This was the most obvious one-and-done situation we have ever seen. And for anyone saying, one and done could set you back. 8 of the last 10 coaches who were one and done, guess what? Their replacement made the playoffs. And one of those was Pete Carroll and Antonio Pierce. I bet you the Raiders are set up to be really good now if they get their coaching hire right with Mendoza. Jetpack writes in, can the rope let go of me? Hey, don't let go, man. AG's got a plan.
Just don't let go of the rope.
This guy is worse than Adam Gase. I can officially say that. That's where I'm at. Honestly, let Gase be the OC. At least we'll score on the opening drive before we lose 35-7. Why not? Please do something is in the raffle for 5. Now, we did our weekly raffle this morning. I want to thank everyone who participated in that. I also will say this, though. We have a new top raffle prize in next week's Asmaniac raffle. The top prize next week is going to be a signed Garrett Wilson helmet. So if you want in, if you send in a super chat that qualifies or gift the appropriate membership, for every membership you gift, you get a raffle ticket. I can already tell you I purchased a Garrett Wilson helmet signed by the man himself. That is our top prize in the raffle. Lou B checks in. Time to protest in Times Square. Fire AG Woody. Protests in Times Square? Why, so the naked cowboy could question what we're all doing there? show up and storm one Jets drive, Lou B. I'm just kidding. That's where the protest needs to be now. Guitarist writes in, how does Glenn get literally everything wrong and still get to keep his job? It'd be unbelievable if it wasn't the Jets. Thanks, Woody. Again, if you're a Jet fan, right, and I'd imagine of the over 1,000 people watching right now, and again, thank you to everyone who's tuned in live. If you're a Jet fan, put yourself in the shoes of the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Giants, who have a real coach now. What do you think they would say about how the Jets currently look? Right? Wait, try and tell them why you think Aaron Glenn is going to work out. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to laugh at you. You're firing your offensive coordinator on January 27th. You're trying to replace Steve Wilkes with Wink Martindale, who the Jets are the only team that he's speaking to. The only team. No one else is trying to hire a mid-60s head coach in 2026. And the best is, Glenn was hired because of the fact his strongest trait was he'd put together a great coaching staff. They hired Glenn because they were looking for a leader, not someone that's great with the X's and O's acumen. That's what Tannenbaum said. Again, it was a flawed search to begin with, but I don't know if anyone thought Glenn would be this god-awful after a year. I mean, 3-14, 7 assistants fired, a new DC, a new OC after 1 year. It is astonishing. Fernando Velez says, we should have a hug for Arch on the meetup this year. We're going to need hugs watching this shit show this year. F this team, don't buy tickets, stay far away. Again, I will never tell season ticket holders how to be a fan, but why would you buy season tickets to the Jets? What do you get out of it? You get nothing. If you want to go to a Jet game or two this year, go on SeatGeek, go on StubHub, go on TickPick, go on wherever and buy your tickets. You'll save money. Giving this organization any money right now. After so get this too, by the way, they're raising season ticket prices off this horseshit year. They're increasing your prices. How could anyone actually renew their tickets? How could you do it? If you like tailgating, you like going to games, I do too. Just buy it on the secondary market. Don't give them your money. They don't deserve it. This is an embarrassment. It's so pathetic. Mace B says, if Kraft doesn't fire Mayo, is Rabel the Jet coach? Probably. The biggest mistake Woody made, though, was not firing Robert Saleh after 2023 and getting Rabel then. He would have been the Jet coach in 2024. That's what they should have done. He obviously had cold feet about Saleh. He gave him 5 more games in 2025 or 2024. Kevin writes in, never saw a more 2-15 looking team this early ever. Yeah, I have never seen this fan base this out on the upcoming year already. And what's crazy is this is how you know Glenn is dog shit. We actually have cap space and high draft picks. We have 4 picks in the top 44, and I've been doing this show since Robert Saleh was hired. January of 21, we started going live every day talking about the Jets. I have never seen the fan base in the spot we're in right now. And even predating the show, this is the most negative I have ever seen the Jet fan base. And we all just deserve better. Again, the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. Think about that. They flipped it like that. They were bad for the final year of Belichick, 1 year of Gerard Mayo, and now here they are. And then we Jet fans, we remain dog shit. It kills me, man. It kills me. Because it is the best fans in sports, and we get nothing for it. There's nothing worse than being a Jet fan. You get the worst return on your investment as a fan rooting for the Jets than you do for any other sports team. You don't have a good stadium experience. The team's terrible. It's horrible. C writes, an AG officially lost me. Why would Brees want to come back? How long until Garrett Wilson wants out? Ready, fire, aim, SOJ. Again, I don't know the answer to that. Brees, you could franchise tag. It's a mess. Aria says, AG will call offensive and defensive plays a real CEO. I just can't believe there's quotes existing about, what a Glenn's strengths is that he's going to hire a great coaching staff. And he's firing over 50% of his staff, including both coordinators after a year. I mean, you are just an absolute disgrace. It really just, it's hard to fathom. It's unreal. Let's see. David says, how much more can Garrett Wilson take of this? I don't know. I mean, they paid him a lot of money, but he's human. And when they start losing again next year, I mean, he already was flipping out on Aaron Glenn. Remember when Aaron Glenn chose to not even try a 53-yard field goal at the end of the first half in London or try and throw the Hail Mary? That he just let the clock run out and Garrett Wilson was livid? I love seeing that from Garrett. He's like, hey, dude, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? You're supposed to know this. And then remember Aaron Glenn said the next day he regretted not having the Hail Mary being called there. So what did he do? He did the exact same thing against Carolina a week later. Didn't throw the Hail Mary at the end of the first half with Fields. Again, people are like, oh, he's got to learn from his mistakes. When you're not qualified to do the job, you're not able to learn from your mistakes. You're not. Again, that's like, this is like throwing an elementary school kid into a high school senior level class. Like, he cannot do it. He's not qualified. He's not equipped to be a head coach. And what's happening here with the coaching staff and the indecision and how things are quickly changing, when now Engstrand on January 27th is gone, truly is mind-boggling. Aria says Fields may be back with a new OC because no other options. Justin Fields will not be back. Joe says, I've never seen a dead coach walking like this. Yeah, this is something. Gase wasn't even this dead. Going into his second year, he wasn't. Gase won 7 games his first year. They started 1-7, and then they went 6-2 over their final 8 games. Right? They finished 7-9. Now Gase became dead coach walking because they started 0-12 or 0-13. It was obvious he was done. But Glenn enters the year where if they start 0-3, he might be gone. How could Woody sit there and allow this guy to make him the ultimate laughingstock again? It is so ridiculous that we have to just sit through another year of just a season that is going nowhere. We already know how this goes. There's no scenario, please. And if I'm wrong, save the tape and never let me forget that I question the almighty Aaron Glenn. I'd love to be wrong because I'm so tired of watching dog crap year after year after year. If somehow he magically hires these great coaches that turn it all around, I'd love nothing more. But we already know how this is playing out. A year from now, Aaron Glenn will be long gone, and we got to wait till then. Because Woody couldn't see the writing on the wall that needed to be done immediately after the season. Like anyone with a brain saw. Dan says Salah's going to stick it to AG. That's probably week 1. Jets at the Titans week 1 next year. I can see it now. They play in Nashville. Why wouldn't I expect that to be week 1? Zoink Nation says, just some appreciation for being a whistleblower when it comes to the Jets and their BS. Calling out Mike T with voice of reason is so refreshing to hear. I like Mike personally. He's here down in Mobile. I'm sure I'll run into him at some point. But he promised that Aaron Glenn would hire a great staff. He said that one of the strengths of Glenn was his ability to recruit big-name coaches who'd want to be here. He could not have been more wrong. Again, no one wants to work for Aaron Glenn other than guys desperate to get back in the NFL to get a paycheck. See Wink Martindale, see Frank Reich. These guys have not been successful at the NFL level in years. They are outdated when the league is all about modern innovation on both sides of the ball. Look at the schemes. Look at the coaching that Seattle has, for example, with McDonald and Kubiak. Look at what the Patriots have with McDaniels. If you just want to use the Super Bowl teams, look at what Ben Johnson did in year 1 with Caleb Williams. Trevor Lawrence is finally Mr. Generational Quarterback. Oh, why? Oh, he has Liam Cohen, a real coach. It's all coaching in today's NFL. The CEO, rah-rah coach, is going extinct. There's very few of them left. One of them got hired by the Giants. He's an exception. He's not the rule. Sears writes in, the Jets are running a 3-ring circus with no ringmaster, just clowns throwing poop and arguing who gets to drive the tiny car. Jet Lee writes in, if Glenn fired everyone on the staff and gets to hire new coaches, what does he actually do? He's a waste of space. Again, people can't answer the question, what does Aaron Glenn do well? It triggers them. It bothers them. To those people out there, I once again ask you the question, what does Aaron Glenn do well? What does he do well as a head coach? What are his strengths? How can he help fix the situation here? It's funny. He fires Engstrand. Some of the bootlickers that defended Aaron Glenn were like, well, he hired Engstrand. I think he's got a lot of potential. Yeah, you know what? I do think he has some potential, and he fired him. Peach Farmer writes in, the Jets have redefined rock bottom WTF. Boogie Woogie writes in, dude, I'm so pissed with AG, Woody, and the Jets overall. A 57-year fan, and I get another year of mediocrity. No. You're not getting mediocrity. You're going to get ineptitude. I'm not talking you off any ledge because I can't. The only ledge I could try and talk you off of if they're as bad as I think they're going to be with this coach, they will be in position to get the long-term answer at quarterback. God willing, next year's draft actually pans out and there's better quarterback options. And it's not just like this year, one quarterback and that's it. Everyone else is a projection. Joe the Jet, can you punch Mike T for us? Kathleen says, did Glenn really make all coach decisions? Yeah. He's running the show. Again, you know what's funny? Dan Campbell stuck his neck out defending Aaron Glenn in Detroit when Lions fans were saying Glenn should be fired after the first couple of years. Dan Campbell went to bat for Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn, who's supposed to be able to hire this great staff, right? He was recommended by Campbell and Sean Payton and Bill Parcells. Oh, everyone's signing off on how great Glenn is. Ha ha, awesome. Yeah. He hires the staff, and he's getting rid of all of them. All of them. They're all gone. Except Banjo. That's it. Both both offensive and defensive coordinators gone. All their assistants gone. Like, what does he do as a head coach? Supposed to hire a great staff. Well, now by firing all these guys after a year, everyone knows you're on the hot seat. No one's taking the job. V-Man, we're just rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic at this point. Call me when we bring in McDermott in 2027. I mean, we got to wait another year. McDermott could be available next year. Tomlin could be available next year. If Kevin O'Connell gets fired by the Vikings or Shane Steichen gets fired by the Colts, I'd take both those guys in a second too. They're offensive guys for our quarterback. Is anyone else not depressed having to talk about 2027 head coaches on January 27th? We can't even get like fake optimism that we normally get as Jet fans in the offseason. Joke. Hey, huge shout out to Jets Forever #2. He's our guy. $100 super chat. Let's go.
Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets!
It has been my experience to not trust anyone with two first names. Aaron Glenn has really cemented that theory for me. This is the best use of $100 I have ever seen. At least, look, I know we're all depressed about the Jets. Let me give you one positive, Jet fans. This year, the New York Jets were field goal protection champions. Incredible. Again, anyone defending what's happening here with this organization, you are part of the problem. We need to call out the BS. None of this is normal. No team in the league is operating like how the Jets are operating. They are being laughed at. We're talking with people at the Senior Bowl that work for other teams or cover other teams as well. And it's like, again, I cannot emphasize enough how big of a clown show the Jets are viewed right now. And it wasn't Glenn changing all this, right? He was the guy that was supposed to come in, know what he's doing, learn from Campbell and Sean Payton and all this. We're being laughed at, mocked by everyone in the football world. And Mr. Accountability, Mr. Trust Me Bro was supposed to change all of that. And he's made it worse.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
Think about it. Joe Douglas is getting interviews with the Falcons to be their GM. Robert Saleh is a head coach again. These guys are only getting jobs because the perception of the Jets is that they're a clown show. Woody Johnson's the worst, which is partly true, but Glenn was supposed to clean a lot of that up. And you guys want some even worse news? Jim Leonard, who we all wanted, right? He's the leading candidate to become the next defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. So the Jets can't get Jim Leonard to come home to them. He'll go join a division rival and be on Joe Brady's coaching staff. Wonderful, man. That's coaching right there.
Coaching. It's coaching.
What do you mean?
Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
It's unbelievable. The Jets are an absolute clown show, and this owner retaining this head coach is what started all this. It's unbelievable. Mike with a super chat. If we end up with Arch, all this grief worth it? ? That's the only hope at this point. Yeah, if Arch is actually as good as they say, and you get the right coach for him, Again, we have now lived this as Jet fans. Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl. If you don't have the right coach with the right quarterback, it doesn't matter. That's why we need to pair up the coach and the quarterback together. We need the best offensive guy we could get for that quarterback a year from now. Ideally, it's an offensive guy with experience, but if you can get O'Connell, you can get Steichen, all for it. The only exception I'd make is Tomlin because he's the ultimate floor raiser. But it's just, it's disgusting. Gangrene with a super chat. I placed a bet last year for the Jets to win under 5 games. I'm doubling down. I might bet them to win under 4 this year. They will, in all likelihood, we'll see what happens with Cleveland. It's either the Jets or the Browns will at least enter the year with probably the lowest win total projection on FanDuel. Probably. The Jet win total was 6.5 going into week 1 this year. That's what it closed at. They won 3 games. It's one of the worst years ever. They would have really only won 1 if they didn't have one of the greatest special teams unit ever. If you go by DVOA, I think the Jets had the 6th best special teams unit since 1978. They were historically great on special teams. It helped them win the Browns game where they scored 2 touchdowns on a punt and kickoff return. They only won by 7. They scored 14 points on returns. Right? They helped them win the Bengal game, too. They had a couple long returns in that one. Nick Folk's greatness against Atlanta helped them win that one. They also recovered a muff punt at the 1-yard line to win that one in a game they won by 3. This was an awful team, folks. They won 3 games, and it's not even good enough to get the number 1 pick because it's the same record as Vegas with the strength of schedule BS that screwed the Jets over. But this was a historically bad team. And the head coach can't do anything to solve the problems. So how does this get better next year? The talent will be a little better, but they started 0-7 when they still had Quinnen and Sauce. That's why that doesn't mean anything to me. Ryan says, nothing changes till Woody is gone. Who in their right mind will come to the Jets after all the issues with the organization? Well, you're going to have to grossly overpay if you want anybody to take your job, to consider your job. That is just a straight fact. Hit the like button if you're one of the 1,100 people in here live. I promise you guys, I'm in Alabama right now. I'm in Mobile. You can't tell because I was supposed to be at the practice field right now watching practice. And then as I'm leaving the door, right, as I'm getting set to leave, well, the Jets are the Jets. We will have a new offensive play caller, which will be the 13th different play caller for the Jets in the last 16 years. Think about that. Hey, we might not be able to get an interception for 17 games. But man, are the Jets unbelievable at always giving us something to discuss. Let's get to your calls now, shall we? Comments, questions, super chats, keep them coming. If you enter the raffle today, you will be in the Garrett Wilson signed helmet raffle for next week. I will add other prizes as well. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in. We will give you some Senior Bowl coverage throughout the week on the channel, but obviously the Jets and their coaching situation takes precedent, which is why I'm not at practice right now. Dylan and Dom are there, and I'm doing this live show. Let's get to some calls. Let's start it off with Paul, who's first today. Hello, Paul.
What's going on, brother? I'm sorry, I was eating. I didn't expect to get on that fast. I didn't think I'd be first. Well, it's official. After my 40-plus years of being a Jet fan, I think it's safe to say that this is the worst they've ever been, the most embarrassing. I mean, I just can't. I mean, I'm working from home. I get a text from my brother. He got fired. I'm just like, we are truly dysfunctional. We are a problem now. This has gone above and beyond embarrassing. I don't even know what to say anymore. And how is it acceptable is beyond me. And I just can't even believe it happened. I wanted to see Engstrand. I think we all wanted to see Engstrand get a second year with possibly a better quarterback and, a couple changes here and there and see what he had. He was the least of our problems aside from special teams, in my opinion. Why did you even mess with that section of it? If you couldn't watch the tape, let's watch the tape. Let's watch the tape. If you couldn't watch the tape and see that the problem was mainly our quarterback and not so much the play call and how many times he had guys open And he's notorious for that. I mean, Fields, that's why they got rid of him in Pittsburgh. I mean, they were going to sign him because they had no choice till Aaron Rodgers became available because we got rid of him. And what does that tell you? Like, it's just dysfunctional. Like, Pittsburgh was like, oh, great. We'll trade you Fields for Aaron Rodgers any day of the week. Like, good organizations know better. We're never going to be a good organization as long as we have this owner, because we need one person that's competent and Woody trusts and stays out of it. And it's never going to happen because nobody's going to want to come here. I wouldn't come here. We're a laughing stock. Why would you come here? You can go to plenty of other places, get paid, succeed, not have to worry about getting fired in a year. Like, it's truly gotten to the point that, like, yeah, this is to me the worst ever. Like, worse than Gase, worse than and I always said what's his name was even worse than Gase, was the worst I ever saw. And no, this is just topping it. Like, I don't know what to say, man. Love the show, you know it. Talk soon, dude. We're screwed.
We are most definitely screwed. There's no doubt about that. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Alec. Let's hit the calls as quick and to the point as possible so we can get as many people in here, and I can hopefully make it to one of these Senior Bowl practices this afternoon here. Let's go to Alec. He's next. Hello, Alec.
Hey, Jake. How we doing? One of the things I kind of wanted to put out there for this, and I've been on here a couple times saying, I'm glad that we are moving away from Glenn or potentially moving away from him. But one of the things that I'm kind of looking at this as, and it is kind of cope, but if I wasn't Aaron Glenn, or if I was Aaron Glenn and I was looking at this team, I would fire most of the coaches on this staff. Whether you're looking at all of the assistants he brought in, I know there's people that were on the staff outstanding, but if this wasn't Aaron Glenn, I would be happy that everybody got fired. I wouldn't have given Tanner another chance at play calling. I don't think he used the talent that we did have, which was not much. I don't think he necessarily used it well. I don't think Brees was used well all year. I don't think Garrett was used well all year. And a lot of this comes back to the quarterback. But some of this does look at scheme. And so I would have fired most of these people anyways. And that's the only willing grace I'm giving here. I still don't think Aaron Glenn should be here. But I do think that most of the staff needed to go. And we still need to look at the scouting department, the analytics, and everything else as well.
Well, that's Muji, though. That's separate. The coaching is all Glenn. And
I agree.
Again, they needed to go because they were terrible. But he hired all these people, Alec. And now you're not going to get qualified coaches who want the job. And by the way, we have no idea if Aaron Glenn even knows what a qualified coach looks like when he had full carte blanche to hire anyone he wanted. He was on a 5-year deal. Oh, the Jets hired a franchise legend. Surely this job has plenty of stability. So he hires Steve Wilkes as his DC. It's inexcusable to do that. The rest of the staff, the disaster Charles London decision with quarterbacks, Scott Turner as the pass game coordinator. Again, these were his hires, man. And while they needed to go, I agree. He doesn't get credit for firing bad coaches that he hired in the first place. And the timing of all this makes you look like a clown show. So anyone who thinks that Glenn is capable of now hiring great coaches when everyone knows he's a sitting lame duck coach, it's not going to happen. They're not going to get good candidates. They've been turned down by a bunch of guys with anyone that wanted to interview for the DC job or the OC job. They've been turned down by so many different people.
Yeah, this isn't credit for Glenn so much as just an acknowledgement that the organization just needed to move past all of these people anyways. Like, Glenn's not getting a pat on the back for doing something that I think every fan in our fan base was willing to acknowledge. Like, they need it to go. The only thing I'm saying is when it comes down to it, it's something I've heard you say a lot and something I agree with actually that you kind of won me over on was it's 1 of 32. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of folks are going to want an opportunity to fix what could be a really shitty organization and cement themselves. I think it sucks, but I'm a Knicks fan too. I mean, my only benefit is the Yankees most of the year. So it's like, I'm so used to seeing teams hold on to bad staffs, hold on to bad rosters, hold on to things that need to be let go. At least at this point, screw it. You're getting rid of them. I don't care. At this point, I don't want you to commit to anybody. If you're going to stick with Glenn for one more year, at least burn everything else off of the team that was awful, because we know it was. There's just no point in continuing.
Well, here's the thing. If he's going to try and win, he's so bad that it won't matter. They'll just lose. So if he's going to be here, The second they get off to a bad start, anyone who's still holding on to hope will be, I think, on board on the tank for Arch, marching for Arch, or whoever the top quarterback is. We'll use Arch as the figure holder. Lions Today, who's one of the bigger Lions podcasters, says, just fire AG. Why are they being so stubborn? Well, we have Woody Johnson as our owner. Because I don't know if Aaron Glenn would hug Sheila Ford in Detroit, but every morning, Woody Johnson, 8:05, him and Aaron Glenn do this.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Right, so when that hug happens, there's that connection there. So that's how Glenn could fire both his coordinators and 7 other assistants. What a joke. Hey, hugs for all, baby. Field goal protection champions.
The field goal team. Last year we had 3 blocks. This year, we had no blocks.
Help wanted. The Jets have coaching vacancies at offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, passing game coordinator, quarterbacks, defensive line, linebackers, assistant defensive backs, and 2 defensive assistants. Could you imagine going 3-14 and being allowed to change this many coaches? It doesn't happen. There's no example of this. Oh, but Jake, Dan Campbell was 3 whatever his first year. He changed 3 coaches. 3. Dan Campbell also had Ben Johnson. How's he been without him? They're not the same team. They're not. They're good because they're really talented. Is Dan Campbell this great coach without the best offensive mind you could argue in the sport? I don't know. He's made the playoffs more times than he's made it in his time as a head coach. That's the only comparison we can give. Again, I'll keep giving the stat I gave a lot when I was arguing why Glenn should have been one and done. 8 of the last 10 coaches who were one and done, their replacement made the playoffs in their tenure. Take it a step further. Of head coaches who won 4 or fewer games in year 1, right? Since 2001. So we have 25 years of sample size here. There's been only 2 that ever won a playoff game. One of them has Joe Burrow, and the other was Dan Campbell, who had Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, who had already been to a Super Bowl. The Jets have nothing right now. Again, it is depressing to be a fan of this team because the fan base is elite, as good as any, and we get nothing. Ryan checks in. Nothing changes until Woody's gone. Who in their right mind would come to the Jets? I think I read this one, but I was spot on. Derek is in the raffle for 1. Thank you. Still Rock in the 80s says, maybe you could run into Aaron Glenn there, Jake. Maybe he made a special trip just to win you on his side. I don't believe Glenn's here. He's got to hire coaches. He has time to be spending hours evaluating prospects. I don't think he's here. Muji's right-hand man is here. I saw him. I saw Robbie Payton. I saw him today walking around the convention center. But Glenn's not here. He's got to hire basically an entire coaching staff, minus the special teams coaches.
Fuck you, Jake Asman.
We know Glenn was coming back from Cabo recently. That picture went viral of him on a United flight. So we know Glenn got a nice vacation in already this offseason. He's really working hard hiring a staff. Who wanna fly United Economy Plus? What a joke, man. Joke. Hey, good thing we have Arian Smith, right, Glenn?
I just feel like it seemed like Arian Smith was making some plays today and getting open. Like, how happy are you with his progress?
The guy that can't catch? What you guys say?
The guy who finished with 7 catches. Yeah, that guy. More of your calls, right? Let's keep it going.
When he's home, his bill is on the bed. That's what feels good. On the road, his bill is on the bed. In a dirty hotel room. He calls the show, his bill is on the bed. He's just more comfortable. He got a beard, loves the Jets, super chats. Well, the big fella sleeps alone. There's no room on his bed. Well, that's a big fella.
What's up?
Hello, big fella.
I'm so pissed. I'm so mad, bro. First of all, I'm not going to give Aaron Glenn any grace whatsoever. He hired these people, and then he's going to, and we're going to give him grace because he fired him. That's BS. Okay. He fires the defensive coordinator. He fires the offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator actually was decent. Okay. He had players getting open. He was something that we could look forward to. except for Aaron Glenn had to hire the stupid-ass Justin Fields, who couldn't complete a pass, has Brady Cook, who sucks, and Tyrod's the only one who got his wins this year. It makes no sense. He fired the one guy who was actually halfway decent. Now, okay, I mean, any leader, you don't scapegoat the people next to you, okay? He's the one who has to go, and Woody's a freaking jackass, okay? For him to keep Aaron Glenn on, okay, he's, first of all, no one's going to remember, okay? Aaron Glenn was a great Jet when he played for us because they're all going to remember this bullshit. It's terrible. This is the biggest embarrassment we've ever had. I lived through Kotite, Joe Walton, all those guys. This is the worst. This is the absolute worst this franchise has ever been. Woody, you surpassed Kotite. Congratulations. You did it. You had a chance to get Harbaugh. You didn't do it. You had a chance to get other decent coaches. You didn't do it. You're dragging this franchise into the friggin' swamp of the Meadowlands. This is terrible. We have draft picks this year and we have draft picks next year. It's really, really shocking that defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators will not come here because of the situation. They get paid really well. They get paid really well. And why aren't they coming here? It's because of you, Woody, you piece of shit. That's why. Okay? We deserve better than this. I just don't get it. I don't understand why he's still here. Honestly, why is he still here? You know what's going to happen with our defensive coordinator position? This is what's going to happen. Aaron Glenn's going to be calling the plays. You know who's going to be the defensive coordinator? It's going to be Chris Harris.
Yeah, of course. That's where this is headed, big fella. Chris Harris is going to be the DC. Glenn will call the plays. The Jets will try and put out some sort of PR spin that, Glenn saw what was happening. He's not going to let it happen again. He's going to take over. It's all BS. He wasn't that good of a DC in Detroit. It's not going to make a difference. Like, it's so pointless, man. The Jets in a year's time have never been in a worse spot. They took the infrastructure that was obviously screwed by the end of Saleh and everything with Ulbrich, but there were some pieces here. They eradicated it. The foundation that he was going to lay this year, there was no foundation. You didn't do anything when you're starting over on each side of the ball with your coordinators. Nothing was established. There's no schemes or systems that have been put into place. There's no continuity. It's a joke. You are an absolute joke of an organization to allow this head coach to still have a job and be able to hire a new DC and OC when nobody wants the job because of the fact you went 3-14 and everyone's laughing at the fact that the head coach wasn't fired in the first place.
Yep. And I mean, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have Chris Harris as our DC, and it's the guy who oversaw a friggin' season with no interceptions. And he was the D-backs coach. What the fuck?
It's amazing.
Honestly, it drives me nuts. It's common sense. Woody, you're a jackass. You're a total jackass. Sell the team or find somebody who can run it because you suck. Mike White doesn't suck. You suck. Period. That's it.
Hang in there, big fella. Hang in there. Sit
tired of
back.
this shit.
Get a Woody hug.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have not heard from this guy in a while. I don't even know if I still have his intro. He doesn't call in anymore. He's too good for us. Ladies and gentlemen, stop what you're doing and get ready because on the line right now is this guy.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully you're not sleeping. Ay, caramba.
That's what we need right now.
Puerto Rican rum?
Just liquor in general with this team. Like you said, this is just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic at this point. I mean, it's just pathetic how quickly everything fell apart. And yeah, no one's gonna come here. And if I'm Tomlin, I would never come to this organization. I think if he's gonna go anywhere, he'll be like Mike McCarthy, wait for that established team to like when Mike McCarthy went to the Cowboys. Wait for that team that was just perfectly set up where all you got to do is just hop in and get going. Like that type of coach. Like if, for example, if the Eagles were to fire Nick Sirianni, Mike Tomlin would go there in a heartbeat. That's where he's going to end up going. I don't think he wants to deal with a rebuild. My honest opinion.
You don't even like Mike Tomlin. You and I argued about Mike Tomlin a year ago.
I know, but I'm saying if he's going to go anywhere, I think he wants to go to an established team.
I don't disagree. I think you got the way for the Jets a year from now to attract a good coach is you offer them money, power, and a path to get a quarterback, right? If you have the 3 ones and you can get Arch Manning, that makes the job ultra attractive for whoever the top quarterback is, assuming they live up to the hype, right? Like you need to have this top quarterback coming out that everyone's dying to coach to make the job attractive.
And you obviously know who my top the choice is for head coach in 2027.
Who your top choice is? I'm guessing because it says under your name McDermott 2027. That's your top choice.
Well, yeah, like look. Let's be honest. The Andy Reid coaching tree is impeccable. Can we agree?
It's much better than the Belichick tree.
Yeah, exactly. And I say this because the reason why I like McDermott because he's done everything that we need in a head coach. He has gone into an inept organization, turned it around, made it respectable. He put together a staff that took one of the rawest quarterbacks of the 2018 NFL class and turned him into one of the cream of the crop of NFL quarterbacks. He's proven he's won. He only has one losing season in his entire coaching career. After 2019, he never went one and done in the playoffs ever again. Like, he fits everything. And then the league wants him to coach the Jets because they want that rivalry factor because that brings up the ratings. I mean, the Jets and Bills are the only team in the division that don't really have a true rivalry. Like there are no Jets and Bills games that are steeped in NFL lore. Like not like what we have with the Dolphins, with the Mud Bowl, the Reno O'Brien shootout, the fake spike, or the Monday Night Miracle. There's no, the Belichick napkin, Parcells to the Jets, the Drew Bledsoe, the 2010 divisional round game, and the Thanksgiving game that shall not be named. There are no real moments. Like, what are the moments? The Rex Ryan in 2015 denying us the playoffs. 1981, 1998 winning the division. Like there are no real Jets Bills rivalry moments. But you bring in Sean McDermott here, that suddenly makes something out of it.
Yeah, that's not why you would bring him in though. You bring him in because he's been a proven coach who's.
No, I know. Quarterback. I get that point. What I'm saying, but that's the way the NFL will look at it. Because like it's in here to say, if McDermott comes to the Jets, that's going to suddenly make some ratings.
Yeah, but who cares about that? We need a good head coach. The bottom line is this, V-Man. Take another swig of that that hard liquor you got there. I need it right now. I got other calls. Move. Chug, let's go. Give the people what they demand.
But when will I be able to open this, Jake? We need to get this open.
Do not drink unless Jets make the playoffs. V-Man, when you pass away, we'll put that in your casket, all right?
No, don't worry, man.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he not sleeping. Adios mío.
Better call him more, V-Man. Good hearing from you. More of your calls right now. Let's keep it as quick and succinct as we can. Jack is next. Hello, Jack.
Hey, Jake. How you doing? In case I have a little bit bad internet, I apologize. Today is just such a joke in every facet, and Glenn is just horrible. It's a joke. He gets to rebuild all the staff, and it just boggles my mind. And it's more so Woody Johnson, how just the change in tone. He fired Saleh 5 games in, and I remember Schefter or Rappaport or Connor Hughes, whoever was reporting at the time when Saleh got fired, that Woody fired him because he believed this is the best roster and talent we've ever had, and like they had to win. And now he's just okay, basically, with another 4-win season incoming. How do you go? Like, where's the pride? Or just, I mean, clearly it was lost a long time ago from Woody Johnson, but I just don't understand how you go from that standard to just letting Glenn get away with losing.
Again, they have no plan whatsoever. Great call, Jack. I'm seeing a tweet from Rich Cimini that said Engstrand was convinced at the end of the season he was coming back per source. Something changed. Glenn has no plan. No plan. Remember, he has a plan. Trust him. He learned from his mistakes. He's making it up as he goes. There is No plan. If you think a guy who just went 3-14 and waited until 3 weeks after the Jet season was over to finally start firing assistant coaches has a plan, you have no idea what you're talking about. That's not normal. That's not how you conduct business. That's why the Jets were being laughed at by people around the league for that. That's how you treat assistant coaches. Then you have everything that went down with the Wilkes hire. It was so bad, you fired him with 3 games to go. Couldn't even get through year 1. Then you go out there and, we're going to add to Engstrand around him. No, you're not. Now he's gone. They are an absolute clown show. And again, there's no way Darren Muji could sit here and be okay with this because I actually think he's competent. He was in Denver with Sean Payton. He saw what a real organization looks like. Big fella says, I'd take Obrick over this shit show. I thought Obrick would be the worst coach we'd ever watch. Glenn is worse. He is. Obrick was terrible. It's like debating, would you rather be hit by a train or hit by a bus to die? You're dying either way, but, it is amazing. Kyle Clifton says, well, what Faz said, this is some BS. Engstrand done dirty. Yeah, Engstrand was done dirty. Him being scapegoated when Glenn's the one who got Justin Fields is insane. And again, some of the advanced analytic numbers that evaluate, hey, can your play caller call plays that gets guys open? They were pretty positive for Engstrand. That's why I would say it's probably an incomplete how I would grade him. I don't think he was great, but I don't think he was terrible. I think there was enough there where I'd rather get him a real quarterback coach to help develop a quarterback that's not a running back in Charles London, right? Add some coaches around him. Michael Nottingham got a good stat here. This is from FTN Fantasy. They have this stat here. The Jets have the 8th highest wide open target rate in the NFL. 1 spot ahead of McDaniels Finns, 2 ahead of Detroit, 3 ahead of Ben Johnson's Bears. They were 29th in completion percentage on passes with 3+ yards of separation and 30th in drop rate. But sure, fire the year 1 OC. Guys were getting open. We saw it. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you Tanner Engstrand is, Kyle Shanahan. But I don't think he was awful. Again, making him the scapegoat is ridiculous. Oh, we're going to keep him, but we're going to hire Frank Reich, who has not called plays in the NFL since 2023 and was bad at it. Got fired in Carolina before that. Got fired by the Colts. Wasn't the play caller when they won the Super Bowl in Philly a decade ago already. Man. It just shows you they're rudderless. If Engstrand was under the impression he was coming back, and now he's gone. They have no plan. That's evidence of no plan. Adam says, cheer up. No way. We're off-season champs. We weren't last year, and people were like, oh, maybe it's good the Jets didn't really do a ton in the offseason to get people talking about them. How'd that go? They started 0-7 and finished 3-14. FPP, big fella, thinking is overrated. Sure it is. Why would you think, baby? There's no need to think. We got Woody Johnson leading us.
Thinking is overrated.
Let me in says, Jake, at this point, just let fans make the OC and DC hirings. Guarantee we'd make the right picks. Unlike Glenn, this franchise gives me a headache. I feel you, man. Try having to talk 4 hours a day about him year-round. Citybird says, both Super Bowl coaches are defensive guys. RPO is dead. Defensive head coaches may be the future. We are always going after the last thing. Need to skate to where the puck is going. See, I disagree with this. Defensive head coaches are not the future. Innovative coaches remain the future. You got to be able to have coaches who understand where the NFL is going and be able to hire a staff if they're not an expert on a particular side of the ball, especially the defensive guys. Look at the offensive coordinators in the Super Bowl. Kubiak, who's getting a ton of head coaching interviews, and McDaniels, who's been a head coach twice, and thankfully for Vrabel, he's not going anywhere because no one's going to give Josh McDaniels a third opportunity. That's what you need. Instead, we get Steve Wilkes. We get a head coach who said, well, we're running the Wilkes defense because he didn't want to step in. Big Salsa says it'd be funny if AG fires himself. I would be thrilled. Be the best thing Aaron Glenn has done since he intercepted a pass with the Jets in 2001. Sam Aiken says, I've lost all hope that this regime would be able to draft and develop any player. How can a rookie survive the staff? A rookie quarterback cannot, which is why I am thrilled Dante Moore went back to school. The best thing that happened to the Jets was Dante Moore saying, I'm going back to school. Could you imagine he was coming out and this Engstrand news dropped and we'd be relying on Frank Reich to develop Dante Moore? be burning the number 2 pick. Get the quarterback in 2027 when this god-awful coach who can't do anything right will be gone. Paul says, I bet Tanner stuck up for himself and Aaron's ego couldn't take it. Tanner would be a better coach than Glenn. Probably why Glenn cut his off. Again, scapegoating Tanner Engstrand, I think, is so weak. Big fella writes in, I would take Obrick. I read that one. McDermott will be here to stick it to the Bills. Maybe. I think we need an offensive coach, though, V-Man. If I can get O'Connell, Steichen, I'd rather them over Sean McDermott, who I think is a good coach. But I think Sean McDermott should go somewhere where the quarterback's in place, not where the quarterback needs to be developed. Kaz in the raffle for 5. Just fire Glenn and get it over with. We all know this team with Glenn's direction is going nowhere. Well, at this point, Kaz, the best thing is to keep Glenn because all the good coaches have been hired. And you can't fire Glenn now on January 27th. Then the perception of the Jets gets even worse. Now because Woody didn't act right away when every other franchise was acting, and everyone would not have killed the Jets for firing Glenn because, again, he's looked at around the league as a joke. He's looked at as dead coach walking. Now it's too late to fire Glenn. Now you can't fire Aaron Glenn. Now we're stuck with Glenn because if you fire Glenn now, no one's taking the job that's any good. Oh, you're going to fire the head coach on January 27th? Really? No one would take the job. Look at the Browns. They can't get a coach. You could have got a coach if you fired Glenn the day after the Bills game and said, look, we don't want to do this, but we're set up with all these assets, and we feel like we need a better suited coach for the direction our franchise is going. That's all Woody has to say. Done. Would anyone really be that upset had they moved on from Glenn? 95% of the fan base wanted them gone. We ran the poll in the post-game show. It was like in the 90s. NY Jets fandom, utter joke. Every decision AG makes was the wrong one. Fire AG. Again, if you are defending this head coach, please tell me why. More of your calls.
Jake Asman is a radicalizer. He takes a fan who's mildly annoyed and turns them into a foaming-at-the-mouth lunatic for 3 hours, then reads super chats about it. He doesn't cover the Jets. He covers the argument about the Jets. And he's basically a rage DJ. He doesn't create the anger. He just remixes it louder and sells $2 super chats.
Jake, never underestimate the irrationality of Woody Johnson. I know it's very unlikely he fires Aaron Glenn, but this is the same guy who fired Mike McCagnon after letting him spend $100 million in free agency and run the draft. So we need to hope that Darren Muji does to Aaron Glenn whatever Adam Gase did to Mike McCagnon. That's the only way we can fix this year.
Well, I don't think it could be fixed this year. I think it's too late.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They fire Glenn right now. Who's the coach? Like, who are you hiring at this point?
I mean, Sean McDermott is like,
he's not taking the job.
It's the AFC East. He might want to stick it to the Bills. If you give him something like a 6-year deal, a lot of power, yeah, it's unlikely, but that's the only hope we have. I mean, he took a Bills team that I believe hadn't made the playoffs in 18 years and got them back to respectability. So that's the only guy I can think of who might potentially take it just because of the ties and the desire to kind of stick it to the Pagulas. But yeah, it's unlikely. I mean,
like what Rex did when he went to the Bills right away after he got fired. I mean, if Sean McDermott's interested, sure. I don't think that's going to happen at this point. Like, I don't think there's going to be like a Darren Muji sticking the knife in Glenn's back and getting Woody to fire Glenn. At this point, I think we are stuck with this coach for another year. And if they're as bad as I think most of us expect this to be, we have to pray that there's actually a quarterback they could get with one of their 3 firsts in 2027 and pair that guy up with the right head coach who'd want the job at that point.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The only thing that makes me kind of pause on this is that you would think that if they're announcing the firing or removal of Tanner Engstrand, that they would have announced the hiring of an offensive coordinator, at least to kind of cover the PR end of it. Like, how is Frank Reich?
They can't because they got the Rooney Rule specification they got to now meet. You can't just hire an OC without meeting the Rooney Rule requirements.
And they haven't conducted those interviews yet?
No, because Frank Reich was going to be added in a role that was basically OC without the title, offensive consultant, but he'd be the play caller. They were going to try and circumvent the Rooney Rule requirements. And because of that, now Tanner Engstrand being fired, they now got to go back to the drawing board and interview candidates who have no chance to even get the job because it feels like Frank Reich is like trending towards being the guy that they're going to replace Engstrand with anyway.
Yeah, it's such a joke. I mean, the other thing is like the way Aaron Glenn has treated his staff. I mean, he everyone has been thrown under the bus. This should have been, the way he treated Aaron Rodgers on the way out, the way he's treated the media. Like Aaron Glenn is just coming off as a person who does not understand how to treat people. He's thrown every coach there is under the bus after touting them in training camp. He has a press conference a couple days after the season ends talking about how he's going to be working his ass off to get this fixed, and then he's seen boarding a plane to Mexico the next day. I mean, it's no surprise that these firings came 3.5 weeks after the season ended. It just, what coach is going to want to come in here and work for a guy who is going to throw him under the bus at the first chance they have, and then not even fire him at an appropriate time that lets them get a decent position on another staff? It's bizarre.
Well said. Again, the timing of everything makes them look like they have no idea what they're doing. I was talking with people earlier today about the Jets, and one of the things they brought up was, why did they wait so long to fire their assistants? Again, it's just like not how you conduct business. Like, you've known these guys aren't coming back, you fire them right away. I know fans don't care about that stuff, but like, these are the things that an organization does that gives you the reputation the Jets have. And I thought Glenn, who's been around good coaches, was supposed to know how it's done and protocols and how these things are supposed to come together. Like, it's just, it's such a joke.
My last point here is that in the research that I've been able to do, and I'm happy to be corrected here, there's never been a first-year head coach who has fired both of his coordinators and come back for a second year. The only example I could dig up is Brian Flores, who fired his offensive coordinator and had his defensive coordinator leave for a lateral move, but it wasn't a firing. So Woody Johnson, Aaron Glenn are in uncharted territory right now, and they're carving a path that has never been taken. So I can't imagine how this ends well for anybody, but complete disaster. I don't know. At this point, like if you're a Jets fan, you almost have to hope for 0-17 rather than like 7-10, because if Aaron Glenn wins 6 games next year, Woody is going to tell the fan base to eat shit. Aaron Glenn's coming back for year 3, but I'll let you get to other callers.
Jack, I appreciate it. Again, the only positive I could come up with is the March for Arch. It's on. It's on, baby. Get ready to march. And we better have the right head coach for that guy. Because, again, remember we sucked for Sam? How'd that go? The guy that's starting on Super Bowl Sunday for the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, the Jets drafted him 3rd overall. They actually got the right quarterback, but they did not give him a chance to succeed because they gave him Todd Bowles and Adam Gase as his 2 coaches. It's coach and quarterback. We do not have either. Sickening. Sam with a super chat. Hiring Frank looks like a QB pick. Simpson, why would any Jet fan trust Muji? I don't believe hiring Frank Reich means the Jets are taking Ty Simpson. Not at 16. I don't think that one has anything to do with the other. I think they don't know who they're taking at quarterback. I think they plan to add multiple quarterbacks in trades and free agency before we even get to the draft. And then I believe there is a scenario where they use one of their picks on a quarterback. It won't be at 2. Maybe it's 16. Could be one of their 2 seconds. I could see the Jets trading out of one of their 2nd-round picks, acquiring a 3rd-round pick because they don't have one, and using their 3rd-round pick they acquired on Garrett Nussmeier or Drew Aller or someone like that. That, to me, would make sense. I don't think Frank Reich means, oh, Ty Simpson's getting drafted. One has nothing to do with the other. I don't buy that. Jets forever in the house. Another $100 super chat. Jets forever number 2, of course, not to be confused with, well, you know who. Serious question. Who's left on the coaching staff? Buy you and the boys a few beers in Alabama, dude. Thank you, JF2. You're the man. Well, who's left? The best coach on the Jets staff is Chris Banjo, their special teams coordinator. Can we find more Chris Banjos? Probably not. The offensive line coach was retained. That's Steve Hyden. I guess the wide receivers coach, Sean Jefferson, is still here, right? This is just me just doing this off the top of my head. Let me look it up. Who's left? I mean, the running backs coach I think was retained. Nick McKissick, Luke. I think the tight end coach, Jeff Blasco, remains. The assistant O-line coach, Brian Natkin, is still here. I think Junior Taylor, I know he is here. He's at the Senior Bowl. He's one of the assistant coaches on the Senior Bowl. Walter Kuzmarek and Brandon Blaney, they were 3 offensive assistants. I believe they were retained. But again, I don't know who's going to be retained now that Engstrand's gone, right? Like, again, you fired the OC on January 27th. So there could be more staff changes to the assistants, because if you're bringing in Frank Reich, wouldn't Frank Reich get a chance to have a say on who his coaching staff is, what it looks like? You know, it's funny. Glenn, according to SNY, was calling veteran coaches saying, I'm looking for the head coach of an offense. Well, if you're looking for the head coach of an offense, you got to let the head coach of the offense pick his assistants, no? Again, to have this many changes after year 1 is astronomical. It's never happened. Jack said it best. In his research, he's right, because it's never happened. I saw The Athletic did a story on this too. There was no example of a head coach who won 4 or fewer games, firing both coordinators after year 1. It doesn't happen. You don't get a year 2 if you have to do this. Because you know what happens? The head coach gets fired, not the DC and not the OC. The head coach goes. Big fella. I guess Glenn never went back to watch the tape, because if he did, he would see it wasn't Engstrand's fault. This is pathetic. Oh, and F Mike Tannenbaum. Gonna be a fun radio show with Mike on Sunday, huh? Ron writes in, hey, bud, Woody can use this erratic coach debacle to let AG go. Yeah, but who are you hiring, Ron? Again, I think if you fire Glenn now, like, who takes the job now? It's too late. Doesn't it kind of feel like it's too late? Now, you could say, Jake, just get rid of him now. Don't throw away. Yeah, I get that, but I don't think anyone we could bring in can fix this right now. I think we got to just be god-awful again and benefit from the 3-1s. Now, I know Muji's not thinking that way, and if he thinks he can get a legit coach, if he could somehow get the Vikings to take a first-round pick for Kevin O'Connell or something like that, great, do it. I'm all in. But, like, what's the plan? Dan says they gave Darnold Frank Gore. Oh, that we know. Oleg became a channel member. Thank you, Oleg. I got you down in our raffle for next week's top prize, a Garrett Wilson helmet for 1. Let me get back to your calls here. We're about an hour and a half in to a breaking news emergency stream. Jets firing Engstrand. What else is new? The Jets are in chaos. More of your calls. Derek is up next. Hello, Derek.
Hey, Jake. I hope you and the rest of the fellow ass maniacs are having a good day, brother. Yeah, pretty sad day. Pretty much any platform you hop on, you just hear about the Jets getting roasted. It's pretty embarrassing. But we're supposed to trust that AG can build a staff, even though he built a staff and he fired a staff. If you're one of the top OC or any OC or DC candidates, why are you going to want to come here? But AG has a plan. He has a plan that I've never heard of anybody being fired this late in a coaching cycle ever. It's getting really hard to defend this guy. Tony Romo is on the Pat McAfee show today, and Tony was talking about that Chasson, or he's one of the Patriots defensive players. And he was talking about the development that I've seen for Vrabel's players this year is astronomical. He said basically that he's never seen anything like it. That's coaching. So I don't really understand how you can defend this guy. It starts with Woody and then it boils all the way down to AG. It's just super frustrating. I know you got some more callers to get to, but I appreciate the time as always, brother. I hope you guys and the other fellow as maniacs have a good day. Hopefully we can get through this mess, because I'm sick of getting laughed at, man.
It is disgusting. Good call, Derek. Again, you could get someone right now to take the job, but I don't know. I mean, again, Woody could pull the plug immediately if he wants to right now. I don't think he's going to. I think he would have done it by now. Now, this is getting so ridiculous that maybe he just gets so fed up and he does do it, but don't you got to have some sort of an idea of where you're going to go, right? You can't go to Joe Brady now. They interviewed him last year. Brian Flores is out there. They interviewed him last year. I'd take Brian Flores in 2 seconds. Again, they need, though, they need someone, if you're going to, I can't fathom even firing him now. It's January 27th. We really need Woody Johnson to sell the team, but you can't always get what you want. I mean, I would love to hire Clint Kubiak if we're just naming offensive guys. Honestly, Josh McCown, I'd call him. Seriously. He interviewed last year. Let's hire the guy a year early. I want experienced head coaches. Problem is, because the Jets didn't act, McCarthy got a job, right? McCarthy wasn't good enough to interview for the Jets last year, but the Pittsburgh Steelers could hire him because, of course. Yeah, we couldn't get him. God forbid. Stefanski gets a job. Harbaugh gets a job. Tomlin's taking the year off. Can we get him in 2027 if we wait? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If you want to, again, if they're keeping Glenn, which I think they are, the positive is next year more than half the head coaches in the league are either in their first or second year with their respective teams. When Glenn is god awful, the Jets are maybe one of 5 teams with an opening, and the Jets have a path to get the top quarterback. That's the positive spin. But we as fans got to sit here and go through another year of this horse shit. That sucks. New England flipped their bleep around in a year. And we're here just running it back with a coach who went 3-14. His team didn't have a single interception all year. And they broke the NFL record for losing 5 games in a row by 23 or more. And they had the worst point differential in the NFL since the 2021 Jaguars. And we're bringing him back. Every metric told you, fire this disgraceful head coach. Don't fire Engstrand. Don't fire all the other assistants who he hired. Fire the head coach. Again, you know what? This graphic has me more convinced that Woody, you know what? Even though they look like a big mess right now, you could fire Aaron Glenn. Because again, 8 of the last 10 head coaches who were one and done, their replacement made the playoffs. The chart's on the screen. You see it. Chip Kelly to Kyle Shanahan. Steve Wilkes to Cliff Kingsbury. Freddie Kitchens to Kevin Stefanski. Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson. David Culley to Lovie Smith. Back-to-back one-and-dones. I was in Houston for that. That leads them to DeMeco Ryans. They've won a playoff game 3 straight years in Houston. Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton. Frank Reich to Dave Canales. And now we're going to hire Frank Reich as our savior. Great. Amazing. Antonio Pierce to Pete Carroll. Did not make the playoffs, but they have the number 1 pick. Gerard Mayo to Mike Vrabel. You know how that's going. Robbie Sabo says, it's not rocket science. When football people put on the Jets 2025 tape, it's a wrap. It's that bad, and it's incredibly outdated. All 32 head coaching jobs are appealing. You're the boss, not assistant, though. Yeah, the head coaching job is certainly more appealing than being the OC or the DC of the Jets right now. That I definitely agree with, Robbie. Good point. Tyrone says, this is crazy. However, maybe there's a way of tanking and telling Glenn he's gone after the year. This is cruel to the fans. I don't think you got to tell Glenn to lose. He's more than capable of doing it on his own. Michael with a super chat. I really thought one of the coaches who became available would have tempted Woody to dump Glenn, but nope. No, when you have a chance to retain the worst head coach in sports, you got to do it.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're shit.
That's what you do. Aaron says Glenn should have stayed in Cancun in 2020. Stayed in Cancun. 2026 is a waste. Aaron Glenn on January 18th, coming back from Cancun. And now we need to now go fill all the assistant head coaches. Brilliant. Derek the Jet fan says, I forgot to mention how many competent head coaches are at the Senior Bowl doing their job. Meanwhile, our head coach is boarding planes to other countries. Just sad. Yeah. Again, a lot of head coaches in the NFL are here. Not all of them. Unbelievable. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour is on the line. We refer to him on this show as JF2. Jets Forever, number 2. What's up, JF2?
Oh, yo, Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm not doing as well as you. Look at those shades, everyone. My God.
Oh man, I mean, I'm traveling. I'm away, and you know, I got to catch a show live, so I'm really pumped on that. So yeah, I mean, this just feels like it's like watching, you know, the wheels fall off in real time. Like, it reminds me of, like, you know, seeing Elizabeth Holmes getting in that Uber, you know, like on the plane, like the Theranos fall down, or, you know, the day that Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested for FTX. Like, yeah, I can't, you know, honestly, I just can't even fucking believe it anymore.
It's just hard to fathom that it has gotten this bad. Like, again, if you were giving him a year 2, you would have thought, well, he obviously sold ownership on a plan and they signed off on the plan, and that's why he's here. There's no plan. It just, like, does it not just feel like Glenn is making it up by the seat of his pants? It's completely just, who knows what's going to happen today? It's the Aaron Glenn show. There doesn't feel like there's any organizational plan for what he wants to do with his coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, just one point. I mean, I saw someone in the chat say, like, he's just like a narcissist, and he just has all the traits of like someone that has, you know, such little kind of self-awareness. Just, you know, even I like that point that you made, like he talked about the loyalty Dan Campbell had to him, you know, and then he's just, you know, he hasn't shown any of that onwards to any of his staff. So it's just, you know, and I obviously I'm a newer Jets fan, only been, you know, since about 2017. So I don't have the, you know, the legacy of when he was playing or anything, but you know, he's just a fucking disgrace. Like, let's be honest. Like, you know, in any industry aside from, you know, the New York Jets, he'd be gone and he wouldn't get a job anywhere else. It's, you know, anyways, it's thanks for all you do, man. You're awesome and love the channel and love the show and the community. And yeah, have a great time down in Alabama, brother.
JF2, you're the man. Thank you for your super chats and the support of the community. I'll make sure that Dom and Dylan get some beers on you, all right?
Hell yeah, man. That sounds good. Take care, dude.
Great call. Jets Forever #2. Check it in. Longtime viewer of the show. You can tell by the accent, though. He's traveling all over the world for business. He's originally from the UK. He's a huge Jets fan, though. And what's funny is I'll get like messages for him at like all hours of the night because he's always watching the show on delay. But great call. And appreciate everyone who's watching us either live or after the fact. Again, it kills me because we have the best fans, man. The Jet fan base is amazing. And we get nothing for our passion and loyalty of the team. It's disgraceful. Jay Roth says, as long as Woody's the owner, you have no chance. Again, it starts at the top, but there's bad owners in sports that their teams win. I don't think the Pagulas are good owners. We saw that press conference, but it comes down to, can you just get it right once with the coach hire? And then can you pair that coach up with the right coach or right quarterback? Like, there's a lot of bad owners in sports. James Dolan was the worst, right? Well, all of a sudden you hire Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau. No one's talking about Dolan. Like, you have to get the right people in place. The problem is Woody keeps trusting the wrong people to give him advice on how they should go about hiring the coach and GM. And I work with Mike Tannenbaum, but clearly his recommendation of Aaron Glenn is an unmitigated disaster. Joe the Jet is next. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Jake, I just want to tell you, how long do you think Glenn's going to last next year? Because I don't even think he's going to coach a team in like mid-September next year. I really think he'll be gone by like
if they start 0-4, he could be gone by the end of September. I don't think it's crazy. I mean, he's not going to survive if they're on their way to an 0-7 start.
Why can't they just get it? Like, just get it done already. Like, if you're gonna fire the guy, I know they can't. I know they don't have a lot of options. Just get it done already. Look, if you're gonna hire Frank Reich, just make him the head coach anyway, because you know he's gonna be the interim head coach by next year anyway. So just make him the coach. Do the same thing the Texans did with firing their head coach and going from David Coley to Lovie Smith. You know it's going to suck. It's going to be a disaster, but at least you're bringing in a new voice. You know, at least. What do you think?
I think that that if they wanted to fire Glenn right now, it would be justified. I just question who they'd be able to hire. Like, I think at this point on January 27th, there's no doubt you can get someone better. But is it better for the long-term direction of the Jets to just bite the bullet and hopefully be in position to get a quarterback in 2027, which is not a guarantee. If you tell me they can get someone that's like legit, I'm open to it. But I think if you fire Glenn now, I think it looks like Woody is just the ultimate clown, right? Right now, Glenn is being looked at as like, what the heck is going on? But I don't know if people are running to work for Woody Johnson right now that are any good. If you fired him on January 27th, if you fired him right away, which they should have done, I think it's a different conversation, right? If they fired him after the Bills game, no one would say, how could you fire him after a year? Coaches get fired all the time now. Glenn was Gerard Mayo. This was so obvious he needed to go. Now you are allowing him to have this rudderless plan. I don't know if you actually could get the best coach. I know you can't get great coaches. Most of them have been hired, but I don't know if settling for an average coach is worth it at this point. You might just have to take your medicine for another year, if that makes sense. I hate having that mentality, but I think that's the situation Woody put his team in by not acting right away when he should have.
And you know, Woody has shown he just doesn't know when to fire people. We saw it with Saleh a couple of years ago. He should have fired him back in 2023, even though you can make the case it would have been wrong because he didn't have Aaron Rodgers. Okay. But he could have made that decision before the 2024 season, and that became a disaster. Now, guess what? He's repeating the same mistake again by being, I shouldn't say lazy, but being not proactive on this decision. But, you know, my hope is that we suck next year. And Aaron Glenn does what he does, and it's a disaster, and Arch Manning comes out. But that's not a guarantee, like you said. Hell, it's not even a guarantee Julian Sane comes out. It's not a guarantee. So that's why I'm thinking there's not a lot of hope. I never felt this way about this team, where they have 5 first-round picks, and it still feels glum. It still feels gloom and doom. I never felt this way. We're supposed to feel like, oh, we have a bright future and everything, but I just don't know. I don't know anymore. I especially with this owner. I don't know. I don't know. This team just can't get it right. And guess what? Our former quarterback that we picked 3rd overall is playing for a Super Bowl, which good luck to Sam Darnold. I really hope he wins the ring. But he's playing for a Super Bowl, and he's playing against a team that we hate so much that turned around within a year. I don't get this team. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Joe, I love your passion, man. Good call. It sucks. Hey, here, by the way, is Aaron Glenn talking about his great coaching staff he hired last year.
I think the most enjoyable thing was getting the coaching staff, because there's so many coaches out there that everybody wants you to get, and there are all these names. But I'm a huge believer in getting the guys that's right for the job, and right for the job for us. So listen, if the guys don't have all the big names that everybody wants, they are a hell of a coach. You can find them anywhere. Division II, guys high school, other coaches that are assistants of other teams. And that's what I did. And it took a while to do that. And I want to take a while because I want to make sure I get the right guys. And I said this before, compatibility is just as important as coachability, because you want guys that can actually coach together. And whatever my weak spots are, man, somebody can help me with those weak spots. And that's vice versa along the coaching staff. And I did everything I can to try to make sure I do that. And I think we have an outstanding coaching staff. They're going to do a hell of a job for us. And it's just like going to get players. I want guys going to help us be able to win. Right? And that's what this coaching staff is going to do for us.
I can't do it anymore, man. How do you retain this guy? He's so full of shit.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're shit.
Oh, my God. How could Woody Johnson retain this guy? He's awful. By the way, shout out to Zach Rosenblatt for this great research here. You remember how we were talking about how you can't find any team that won this little games that fired both coordinators? You can't find any examples of it because it never happens. The head coach gets fired before you ever allow him to repick both his DC and OC after year one. Well, Zach Rosenblatt found the team. Hugh Jackson fired both his coordinators from 2016 to 2017. The Browns went 1-15 in 2016, and they went 0-16 in 2017. And Hugh Jackson actually started the 3rd year as the head coach before he got fired a couple games into that season. That's how dysfunctional the Browns are. And the Jets are now on that level. Hugh Jackson. That's who Aaron Glenn is. He's on his way to being one of the worst head coaches ever. Ever. This is where we are, Jet fans. We are in Hugh Jackson territory. Oh, my God. I can't do this. I can't do this. I cannot do another year of this. As much as I'm just saying before, maybe you keep them because you can't get anyone else. I can't do it. I need something. Oh, my God. Hugh Jackson. That's the example. No one has ever won 3 games, fired both coordinators, other than Hugh Jackson, who went 1-15 and then said, we're not going 1-15, I guarantee you that. And then went 0-16. Honestly, could Glenn hire Hugh Jackson to his coaching staff? If we're going to do this, let's do the double tank right. All right. Oh my God. Like, again, we are sitting here watching the most obvious one and done coach ever, and he's back for another year, and he's getting to just run this franchise into further depths of hell. Hugh Jackson. Aaron Glenn is not the first-year head coach to make sweeping staff changes from year 1 to year 2. It's just usually to one side of the ball. I haven't yet been able to dig up any instances of a first-year coach firing both his defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator after year 1. And then we found the guy. It's Hugh Jackson. And Jim Leonard's going to go to the Bills, because why not? Of course. Sam Darnold's playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. New England is, of course, back. I mean, in year 1 with Mike Vrabel, why not? It is unreal, man. MetLife is going to be empty this year. Empty. Who's going to games? Who wants to watch this team? Wrong Verb says the fan-controlled football league lets fans vote in real time via an app to call offensive plays. Can we try that? I'm in. Let's do that. Or let's use ChatGPT to call our plays this year. Why not? J. Roth says, quick pivot to being some happens, Jake. What food are you most looking forward to in Alabama? Keep up the great work, brother. Now take a shot. I appreciate you, J. Roth. To be honest, I don't know what food is really the go-to food in Mobile. I guess we'll find out this week. This is my first time covering a Senior Bowl. And I was about to walk. I swear to God, it was like a scene. Like, I wish there was like recording of this. I was just like, of course. I had my jacket on. I had my Jake Asman Show beanie. Literally, my jacket is over here, like right here. Like, this was on. I was ready, walking out the door, and then I got the notification they fired Engstrand. And I'm like, all right, Dom, you go. I got to go do a live show, so I can't go to Senior Bowl practice. I'll be late. It's just, again, firing the OC on January 27th. It's not normal. This is not normal what's happening here. You have no plan. If you were going to demote Engstrand, you need to have a conversation with him immediately when the season ends. Hey, we're going to demote you. And you figure out right then and there if you guys can coexist. You need to have a plan. You need to be a leader. There's no leadership on this team. They're rudderless. More of your calls. Let's say hello to a guy who I know is fired up about this disgrace. Ladies and gentlemen, it's PBM.
Purple Belt Mike, he loves the dark night. He's got a green pool and he jumps right in. Maybe someday he'll get a brown belt, but for now he's just that Purple Belt Mike. Purple Belt Mike, it might be purple, but he can still kick your dirty ass.
Yo, so I'm going to talk you off the ledge, me of all people, but this is good news, and I'm going to tell you why. It's good news because Tanner Engstrand was really the only thing we didn't know that sucked. We know that Banjo's good. We know that Wilkes was bad, but Tanner Engstrand was undefined because of how bad the quarterback play was. So we'll probably hire some asshole like Frank Wright, suck again, and then we're in position to get the quarterback, unlike this year where it was only Mendoza and then we can't get him. I think we will get the #1 pick next year, and it's going to entice the coach to be here and whatever, because this is unbelievable. Really, truly is unbelievable. I bet Hugh Jackson didn't fire his coordinator in the end of January, by the way. I bet that was after the season.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably right. I'd have to look it up. But either way, if the only comparison to what Glenn is doing is one of the worst head coaches in the history of professional football, Hugh Jackson, that tells you all you need to know about where this is headed.
Yeah, we're heading for a brutal year. We're gonna be real bad. It is what it is. Nothing that we're not used to at this point. And all the bootlickers out there, the people that were saying, "Oh, look at his hiring with Tanner Engstrand and how good Tanner Engstrand was. He had all these people open." Well, he fired that guy now. I believe that. I don't want to put words in someone's mouth, but I think Spencer Green was saying that. But so, all you bootlickers out there, maybe it's time to admit defeat. And we should do something on the show. If you're a bootlicker, then you got to, after next year, call in and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a bootlicker for forever. And I'll say that I'm a moron idiot if AG gets 7 wins. That's the ceiling. If AG gets 7 wins, I'll give who was it? Who's Jets Johnny? I'll give Jets Johnny $100. Fuck it, because it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. We could get Josh Allen on this team, and then Aaron Glenn is going to fuck it all up. He doesn't know how to manage people. He doesn't know how to manage players. He doesn't know personnel. He's got no plan. We're headed for nowhere. So get used to it. Well, we probably already are used to it, but just wake up, everybody. It's going to be rough, and no matter what we do, it's going to be bad as long as Woody is the owner and AG is the head coach.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake to say he's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn Truther. Oh.
Jake Asman is a radicalizer.
I hit the wrong button at the end there. I meant to hit this.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Hugs from Woody, baby. Oh, yeah. Let's get to more of your calls, shall we? Keep it rolling. Sing along.
Get ready for Neil. He will make 13 points about the New York Jets and maybe hump a Patriots jersey. Get ready for Neil. He's probably smoking a big fat cigar and burning his house to the ground. That's Neil.
Jake, baby.
Hello, Neil.
How are you, Jake? Jake, that guy AF2, what's his name? The guy that was on before?
JF2.
JF2 is a handsome dude with nice glasses. And now I realize why he looks good. Because he's only a fan since 2017. Look what happens to you when you're a fan as long as me. Get out now while you have a chance. Anyway, breaking news, Jake. Breaking news. Across my email. I'm going to read it to you. Hi, Neil. My name is Jenna Hansen, and I'm reaching out from the New York Jets front office.
Oh, my God.
The Jets currently hold the number 2, and 16 pick. Listen to this sales job. In the first round of the 2016 NFL draft, and have a total of 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. Breaking news. And adding to the excitement on what's ahead. Additionally, next season, home schedule features games, strong lineup of opponents at MetLife, including the Browns, Packers, Vikings, Browns, and Raiders, along with the AFC East rivals. We recently went on sale with 2026 season tickets. I'd love to share more details about the benefits of becoming a Jet season ticket holder again, because I was one once before. May I set up a call with you? I want to set up a call with her and somebody else. I'm going to say, listen, I really need to be pitched by the number 1 guy in your sales office, in your front office. And then I want to run it live on the show. And we're going to all, we should all get on that call. Let me tell you something. The best salesperson in the world, and I consider myself really good at sales, I couldn't sell this shit. This is the biggest crap I ever saw in my life.
This is the toughest job. The toughest job in sports is to be a season ticket rep for the New York Jets.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. We have to go to we have to go to One Jets Drive with picket signs and bust in the door, and we really need to really have a group of Asman. We have to have a meetup. I'm serious. At One Jets Drive with every single person in Long Island, New Jersey, anywhere within the tri-state area. And all of us have to storm One Jets Drive and really just get in there and speak to somebody and sit down with them in the conference room and say, look, this has got to stop. This is getting crazy here. You're driving us absolutely crazy. Don't you think? We got to do something. I mean, this is crazy. We're the fans, Jake. We're the ones that they supposedly play for. I look at that picture of Aaron Glenn. First of all, the guy makes $60 million over 5 years. He's still flying commercial, and he's the typical asshole that you see when you're on a flight. You know that guy when you're all sitting down waiting for the plane doors to close, and there's always one jackass that comes on the plane the last second and is looking for somewhere to put his overhead bin bag. There was Aaron Glenn. If I would have saw him, I wouldn't have taken a picture. I would have went right up the aisle, full speed. When he reached up like that, I would have hit him in the ribs so hard, I would have sent him into the captain's chair up front of the plane. That's how upset I would have been seeing his face. It's bad.
Neil, this is as bad as it has ever been. They fired their entire coaching staff besides the head coach. No one wants to take the job. No one qualified will take the job. It is just a total bleep show to do this for another year, and we are stuck, and you should respond to that ticket rep. If Woody Johnson sells the team, I will buy season tickets for the rest of my life. Honestly, that's it.
Oh, that might be my thing. I might really have to say, I have to come there personally. I'm going to tell them I have 20 people that are ready to buy season tickets. We'll all go to One Jets Drive. We'll walk in, we'll sit in the conference room, have some waters, and we'll get somebody really big in there, because if there's 10 of us to buy season tickets, and then we lay it on them and say, look, Jake, I don't give a crap if they fire Glenn. Look, who cares when they fire him? He has to get a coaching staff together quickly, right? I mean, this is, now you're better off just wiping the table, because he's not going to get anybody.
No, at this point, the only way you could upgrade the coaching is if you fired the head coach and someone else came in that knew they were going to get obviously more than 1 year. So there's some stability with the position. It's not going to happen now. Again, it's January 27th. Glenn trying to upgrade the coaching staff, maybe by accident. Chris Harris and him calling the plays is better than Wilkes. I'm sure it will, but it's still not going to be good, right? That's not going to be good. Frank Reich is not.
There's still head coaching spots that are open right now. So why are you saying it's too late? I don't think it's too late.
Well, it's too late to get some of the top guys. You can get someone clearly better than Glenn. That's not hard. But I almost wonder if you want to get like the top guy a year from now, isn't it better just to wait one more year? You move on from Glenn. He's going to be awful. You'll be picking near the top of the draft with 3 first-round picks. And then you go from there. And hopefully the job's attractive for Shane Steichen or Kevin O'Connor.
I think you can make a better case now. You can make a better case right now to nail a coach with 2 first-round picks and 2 seconds now and next year and free agency and everything right now.
Who's the quarterback, though? You don't have a quarterback yet. You don't have a quarterback. And you don't have a path to get one either. But
at least if you're going into it. Look, if I'm going to be a head coach now, at least I know I could get you don't really have, the bar is so goddamn low. If any head coach came in here and even won 6 games with a quarterback and all these draft picks and did something big in free agency, we would be excited, Jake. I mean, let's face it.
Agreed. Look, I honestly, the more I think about it, yes, I would fire him now. But
because let me tell you something. He is not going to be able to get a staff together, because he looks at that line he made. Oh, I looked extensively. He's looking at high school coaches right now, because there's nobody that has any kind of credibility that will come to the team. You can't make a case. You said it, Jake. No good offensive or defensive coordinator will come work for a lame duck coach. It just doesn't happen. It's the stupidest job you could ever take, right? I mean, you're not going to have an ability to be on the team more than, what are you doing? You can't do anything. I mean, how do you take that job? I mean, I don't blame these guys.
You can't. No one will take the job. If
you
take the job, you're only doing it because, one, you need the money. You need to get back in the NFL. That's why you get Frank Reich and Wink Martindale, who want one more big paycheck before they go to their retirement homes. That's why they're doing it.
The only thing I would say is, if it was me, I'd say, look, I talked to Woody. I'd say, look, I'll take the OC job, but, I want to know that if, we start out slow, that I'm going to be the interim coach and, at least get a shot to be a head coach again. That's the only justification I would have if I was going to take the job. You know what I'm saying? I would say, look, I'll take the job, but I want some kind of assurance that I'm going to get a second year. And if you fire the coach, I want a shot at being the head coach. And I think at that point, you might be able to attract somebody. What do you think about that line?
This is amazing. I
don't know. We're speechless. I mean, what the? I never said this. Like you said, this is a joke. There's nothing to say. This is really laughable. I will not even listen to the radio. I'm not listening to any of these assholes because I know what's out there. I don't even want to imagine with these Roethlisbergers and all these other guys and Chris Carlin and all the jet-hating jerks. I can't imagine what they're saying right now about this.
But guess what? Everything they're saying is spot on. That's what sucks. We can't even push back as fans. Like, you can't even push back on anyone who's dunking on the Jets. If anything, we all need to join in on it so we can hold this franchise accountable. That it's not acceptable what we're watching here. None of this is normal. No coach ever gets to have full carte blanche after going 3-14 and replace his entire coaching staff. The coach gets fired. The only example we have found is Hugh Jackson. That's it.
Oh.
He went 1-15, and because the Browns are the Browns, they retained him, and then he went 0-16 because the Browns are the Browns. Like, that's the only example of this. That's it.
Look, you can't get sick over it. I'm sick. I'm sick. But and all of us that are OGs, we know we're waiting. It's just it looks hopeless. But
till 2027.
Everybody's fired. Look, I never liked Engstrand. To be honest, I'm not disappointed we let go of Engstrand. I'll be honest with you. At this point, we got a bare cupboard, and that's the time you jack the coach out the door and say, "Look, I'll give you." Maybe Woody said to him, "Look, I'll give you a week to get." Maybe he's interview. Would you think that Woody would be sitting in on these OCDC coordinator interviews or not?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
He has to, Jake. He has to.
I mean, Muji should. Muji should be the one sitting in. He at least comes from a winning program. He's seen good coaching. Like, that's what I would like to see. Clearly, Glenn has no idea what he's doing. I think Muji at least might have some sort of clue. Maybe.
I think we bump. We have to bump Glenn up to a bigger position, maybe head of football operations, and then maybe assign him to hire a coach. Because he's just not a coach. I mean, let's face it. The guy is not a coach.
I know. If Glenn was vetting, he's an assistant coach, right? I'm sure he's a good DB's coach, right? Rah-rah guy. Players respect his career, all that. He is not a head coach. He has failed in every responsibility of what a head coach is supposed to do.
These goddamn exploding cigars. I gotta go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
Comments, questions, super chats. We're almost 2 hours in here. My brother's watching the show. Hardest job in professional sports, selling tickets for the Jets. Again, that email is laughable. Please, if anyone gets emails from the Jets, send them to me. Send them to me. I want to blast it out there so everyone can see the incompetence of this organization, what they're trying to sell to their great fans. Big fella says, fire the 60-19. They were supposed to fix this shit. Well, they're trying to get Tomlin for 2027. You got to let the 69 team have a little more time. No one can fix this right now. This is unfixable. This is the Titanic. We are all sinking right now.
Look, we got Tomlinson. He ain't getting out of here. Get comfortable, pal, because as soon as Woody wakes up, he's going to make you a rich man.
You know, on Titanic, when they had the lifeboats for women and children, we're going to give lifeboats to Chris Banjo, Garrett Wilson, Armand Membu, Olu Fashanu, Joe Tippmann, whoever we draft at 2, 33, 16, 44, whoever emerges, maybe Will McDonald, maybe Jermaine Johnson, they get lifeboats. Everyone else get the, excuse my language, fuck away from the New York Jets. Sink. Sink, sink, sink. Where's Rose from Titanic? That murderer that she is. Murder everyone else. That's it. Done. Garrett Wilson and company, they get lifeboats. Everyone else, sink with the ship. Done. Starting with this inept head coach who doesn't have a clue what he's doing.
Listen, I think the most enjoyable thing was getting the coaching staff because there's so many coaches out there that everybody wants you to get, and there are all these names. But I'm a huge believer in getting the guys that's right for the job and right for the job for us. So listen, if the guys don't have all the big names that everybody wants, they are a hell of a coach. You can find them anywhere. Division II, guys high school, other coaches that are assistants of other teams. And that's what I did. And it took a while to do that. And I want to take a while because I want to make sure I get the right guys. And I said this before. compatibility is just as important as coachability, because you want guys that can actually coach together. Whatever my weak spots are, man, somebody can help me with those weak spots. And that's vice versa along the coaching staff. And I did everything I can to try to make sure I do that. And I think we have an outstanding coaching staff. They're going to do a hell of a job for us. And it's just like going to get players. I want guys going to help us be able to win, right? And that's what this coaching staff is going to do for us.
I hate this team, man. I don't know why we do this anymore. It's like, honestly, like it has gotten to a point where it's like, this is essentially like a higher power that is working against us, but we have to at least think about it. All right, hold on. We got a bootlicker alert. Jets Johnny in the house. Jake can pivot his takes, but AG can't. Sound the alarm. Bootlicker alert. Bootlicker alert. We have someone trying to defend Aaron Glenn. Bootlickers, assemble.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check his out. He's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn Truther, holding that rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
Incredible. Thank you, Jets Johnny. I needed that laugh in the worst way. The Hamburger's next on the show. Hello, Mr. Burger.
What's up, Jake? Wow. Man, I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Like I said, I hit you up on X yesterday, and I said, I kind of disattached to this team right now. But holy shit, man. I think I called it back in week 6 about the Patriots, and now look, we got the Patriots in the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold there, and here we are with no coaching staff, but we do have AJ. I mean, amazing. This team does not disappoint at all. I mean, actually, let me rephrase that. It disappoints at every aspect of fandom possible. I've never in my life have seen such. I don't even have words for it anymore, bro. I really don't. I mean, I'm wearing a Jets hat today because it's cold and I didn't have another one, so I have to be embarrassed. And every time I walk out, somebody says, "How could you wear that hat right now?" But it's cold. It's freezing
Just
out.
don't
And
let go of the rope.
Don't let go.
Yeah, I let go of that shit. I'm gonna tie it around his neck and hang him. It's fucking unreal. I can't. It's too much, bro. He has no idea what he's doing. Nobody's coming to work with him. Nobody's gonna be coaching with him. He's gonna go rob high school coaches. I mean, let's be real. Who's gonna come to this team? I said last year, I said I did not want Rex Ryan. At this point, I would fire AG and bring Rex in. And I did not want him with the team at all last year. But
Honestly, you know what? I'll tell you what. Rex right now for the year, like it'd be better than going with Glenn. Honestly, like you still would have the
sign me up, bro. Sign it.
Like it'd be funny. I don't think Rex would work either because he's been gone too long and the game has changed. But you know what? Like we'd be
entertained.
Yeah, because this is just like embarrassing. Like at least Rex would give us some funny quotes. Like I'd take that for a year, and then we get our real head coach in 2027. Or maybe Rex is magically the answer. I don't know. At least I'll try and inject so much copium in my veins I could maybe believe.
Bad is it?
Like this is
how
insane.
bad is it that we have to talk about this? This is how bad it is. We have to talk about bringing Rex back as like a positive to this. It's just. I don't know, man. We're doomed. I said it earlier in the year. It's another 5 years to get this team turned around. And it really, if you look at it, anybody could turn around and say, "Oh, we could draft somebody next year, or maybe we'll find somebody this year." There's nobody. But this team has to be built from the bottom up again. I mean, from every aspect, from coaching to players. I mean, we have Garrett Wilson. I mean, really, we have like 2 or 3 players that you really want to keep around. Other than that, I could give a shit less about anybody else. I want to build this organization from the bottom up again. Just get the right people in here. Fire him today. Fire him tomorrow. Like, I don't think it's worth keeping him around. He's a lame duck coach, but get rid of him. I will take anybody at this point. Anybody. Anything that Aaron Glenn says at this point now, I like laugh at. I can't take anything he says seriously. He he gave us all this hoopla at the beginning of the year. We're going to be this. We're going to be that. We're going to get coaches in here. We're going to, just like the interview you just played, like filled our head with fucking positive. And this is what we get. Not one thing he's done this year has worked out. Not one scheme, not one thing, not one game plan, nothing. Not a thing has worked out. It's kind of hard to believe. It really is. It's hard to believe that we are where we are now. It's especially after 2 years, and we thought we had such talent, and we had talent on the team, and now there's nothing on the team other than Garrett Wilson. Like, we don't have anybody, a few defensive players. But other than that, I don't blame any other coach for not wanting to come here. Unless we give that coach everything. Just, you have control of everything. We're not getting anybody. Because nobody really wants, I don't think anybody wants to work with Woody at this point now.
No, it's a joke. That's why I think at this point, Woody is so dumb to stick with him. Stick with him all the way. We made our bed.
Yeah.
You got Glenn for another year, and you went 2 years with Glenn. You get rid of him. He's a disaster. Hopefully someone better wants to. You can get someone better for sure, but you actually can get a top-of-the-line candidate when you're only one of 5 openings a year from now, and you have all these picks that potentially could get you the quarterback and set your franchise. Right. That's what you have to hope. Like, the Bears were a joke, but they had Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson wanted to go there. If Arch Manning's the goods, if he's the guy or whoever emerges, great. There's hope, but that's a lot. Yep. That's a lot of waiting before then, and a lot of pain we got to sit through before then as well.
Yep. I just want to let you know, man. I still am paying your Discord. I'm still paying for my membership. I might not be on a lot, but I love your show. I love the Asmaniacs. I don't know, man. I listen for a little while on your show, and then I have to disconnect, and it's not personal. It's just that I don't really want to fucking talk about the Jets. Like, there's nothing positive to talk about. Like, why do I want to sit here and just regurgitate the same crap that we're talking about every day? And man, I don't know how you do it every day, bro.
It's like a car accident. We can't look away. Like, today, Engstrand's getting fired on January 27th. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. I didn't find out until I heard your show until I got out of work. I had no idea. I don't look at any news regarding them. Listen, I had to deal with the Mets off season. That was torturing enough, and now I have to deal with all this crap too. So we'll see, man. I just want baseball to start, my F1 season to start. I can forget about the Jets until draft day, and then I can forget them about until August or September. I got to try to put this year past and try to forget a little bit, because it's been rough, man. It's really put my fandom to a test. Out of 40 years of watching this team, I don't know if I've ever felt this bad as I do about the team that I root for. It's embarrassing.
Hamburger, excellent call. Love your passion, man. And thank you for still supporting the show, even if you're not watching as much. I totally get that. Again, people are like, oh, you're so negative. It's like, do you realize how devastating it is to my YouTube channel when they're this bad? Like, it is not fun. It is not good for business, the Jets being bad. People are like, oh, negative sells. It does not. You have no idea what you're talking about. Check your favorite Jet YouTubers' views when the team has had success versus not. There hasn't been a lot of success, but when they were 2-1 in September, check my average video view and then compare it to now. Come back to me. JJ Roth says, Jake, is Mike T in the 33rd whatever proven to be the biggest farce ever? Again, they got it completely wrong with Glenn. So the problem with using the 33rd team is it just shows you Woody has no real football people, that he had to go back to a guy he already fired a decade ago. And I like Mike. We worked together, but this was a disastrous recommendation. Now, I'm not going to blame just Mike for that, though. It's on the owner. The owner makes the decision. Big fella says, I read that one already. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. JJ Roth, thank you. Craig writes in, mate, the Jets email me every year trying to sell me tickets. And Craig's in Australia. Big fella, when's the next time we hear from Glenn in Muji? On the record, we'll be at the Combine, which will be, I think the Combine is in 20-something days. It's at the end of February. It's like February 23rd. It's that week. I will be there again. Mike Perez says, AG is Rose from the Titanic, just letting everyone die. Aria says, the Steelers once went 24 seasons ending a 1971, 2 years into null without the playoffs. I could survive another 9 years if I get 55 years of their history after. Yeah, if you promise me that the Jets will then get the Steelers' trajectory after that, sure. Jets Johnny, who can't obviously listen because he's too busy licking the boots of Aaron Glenn. The game is past Frank Reich, but Rex Ryan's Jake's answer. Rex is not my answer at all. I said he wouldn't work, but at least it'd be more entertaining than having to listen to Aaron Glenn for a year. I don't want Rex to be the head coach permanently. Rex would actually take the job, though. You have him for a year, and then you say, thank you for your service, Rex. Time to hire Kevin O'Connell. Time to get Mike Tomlin. Time to hire Shane Steichen. We got the top picks in the draft, and we got to take a quarterback. Again, I'm done reading your comments for the day, Jets Johnny. At least Don't make things up. All right? Hit the music, baby. It's time to bootlick. Sing along, folks. It's Aaron Glenn bootlicking time.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn Butt Sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check his out. He's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn Truther, holding out a rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
Again, what are we doing? No one is actually saying Rex Ryan is the answer. He's way better than Glenn. That I do know. I'd sign up for Rex for 1 year right now. Give us something fun to talk about. That tall guy in the raffle for one. Thank you. Niall New York says, let Glenn cook, man. The O's. I'm not reading this. See you later. You're entitled to your opinion. I vehemently disagree. Also, Rabel is overrated. Hold on. I got to, you know what? I don't care if you paid for this. I cannot stand for such stupidity. We cannot allow this to be said. We can't. It's just, it is not acceptable to make this comment and not be held accountable.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
One thing I'm immediately doing, by the way, is Darren Muji now has final say over personnel, not Aaron Glenn. Because talking with people here at the Senior Bowl, Muji at least is highly regarded. People don't think he's a joke. He showed competency in year one. At least he's a football person. Do not let Aaron Glenn have major input over these 4 picks in the top 44. Don't. Aria writes in, since 1990, the first year of the 12-plus team playoff, the longest playoff drought, 17 seasons, tied by the Browns and Bills. We miss next year, that's 16. Oh, I'm well aware. And by the way, Sean McDermott could be out there next year if they're not going to hire him right now. I don't think he's going to get one of these 3 jobs that are open still. Right? He ended the 17-year playoff drought in Buffalo. Come end the 16-year drought with the Jets. Unbelievable. Jets Johnny trying to comment from his other account. Nice try, Jets Johnny. Don't make up things I said. I don't want Rex Ryan as our coach. You'll sit back, you'll slurp, 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 and bootlick Aaron Glenn. You do that on your own time today. I don't have to read your comment for the day. I don't feel like it. I don't have the energy anymore. I got to deal with the Jet nonsense. I don't need to deal with yours as well. Speaking of nonsense, ladies and gentlemen, a perfect segue, because on the line right now is this man.
They call me Alan and everybody hates me cause I'm a super douchebag.
So there's a big misconception here, Jake. If you actually think that Aaron Glenn wanted to fire this coach, I have a bridge to sell you. I told you this in our other conversation. Tanner Engstrand basically told the Jets to fuck off. That's pretty much what happened. And I commend Tanner because basically Tanner said, I don't want to be someone's bitch. I'd rather leave the organization.
But either way, the Jets look foolish for firing him on January 27th.
But this is a complete PR spin for the Jets. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I commend Tanner for doing this. I think Tanner made the right decision to leave this organization. But again, the idea that this owner, who continues to be quiet, which is unbelievable, because you always see him make comments in the past, and now he said nothing, is just mind-boggling, okay? He has said nothing. And again, people don't want to hear him because he's a buffoon. But the idea that he is going to allow this coach to basically run amok of this organization and stand in the background and say nothing and believe that people are going to show up to this stadium in 2026. He's nuts. I don't know what he's doing.
No,
I
no
don't
one's
understand it.
showing up. This is the lowest point the franchise has ever been. This is worse than Kotite. This is.
But I
this is the lowest
commend
point.
Tanner Engstrand. I really do, because I think
You don't
this
know
is,
if that happened. You don't know if he said.
you
"Fire
actually,
me."
again, I said this. You think Tanner wanted to be someone's bitch? You actually believe that?
Of course he didn't, but you're saying that he demanded to be fired and got his way. You don't know
No,
if that's
I
true.
think he basically said, I don't want somebody to be the play caller over me. That's what happened. I do.
Yeah,
I do not think.
But that's not up to him to decide, because again, all the reporting
Again,
Engstrand
when you're
to be on the staff.
When you're talking to Frank Reich and Frank Reich wants to be the play caller, why would Tanner Engstrand want to serve under somebody else? I think Tanner Engstrand told the organization to fuck off, and this is a PR spin.
But
Totally.
they can't. But he can't just.
He can say whatever he wants.
Right, but
Again,
the Jets don't have to listen to Allen. They don't have to just listen to Tanner Engstrand. And again, all the reports.
He left. He quit. He basically
quit. Though he didn't quit. If he quits, he doesn't get his.
Again, I
Not how
think
it
he
was
basically told him, I am not going to serve as somebody else's bitch, and I'm going to leave the organization. Spin it whatever you want. That's
Allen,
exactly what
a
happened.
day ago, every report was that Glenn has
I don't
communicated
care.
to
These
people.
reports are a joke.
He's
Again,
on a
Tanner
contract.
told-
You want, but what you're saying is not rational. That's not how it works. You're just purely speculating that he said, "Fire me, get rid of me," but that's not logical. That's not logical. That's not how it works. Again, let's go back. I will pull up the specific tweet I saw from Connor Hughes on this. Or was it Hughes, or it was Samini, actually? It was Rich who had this. I think I showed it on the show earlier, or maybe I read the quote. Glenn axes his OC. Key question, what took so long? The hiring cycle is 3 weeks old, and good coaches already have been scooped up around the league. Engstrand was convinced at the end of the season that it was coming back per source. Something changed. And then Connor Hughes, this is why I reference Hughes, he had a tweet. Let me pull it up for accuracy here. Aaron Glenn's pitch to some of the veteran coaches he was pursuing for his staff was that he's looking for the head coach of the offense, according to a source familiar with the discussions. Still, having talked to sources close to several of the coaches who Glenn reached out to, all were under the assumption Tanner Engstrand wasn't going anywhere. That changed today. So you're giving kudos to Tanner Engstrand. Who cares? Who cares? Either way, it's a mess. And Glenn, I'm sure, didn't want to deal with Tanner Engstrand, so we just got rid of him. Who cares how it's spun? But either way, we can't just say that. Tanner Engstrand can't just demand Aaron Glenn fire. He's under contract. The Jets had to get rid of him. And also, but again, I don't really care about arguing the semantics with Allen. Allen just annoys me when he comes in. He's just like, this is what happened. Kudos to Tanner Engstrand. And he's all happy that the Jets are a dysfunction. We're all pissed off. He's happy celebrating it because he's rooting for the Patriots. That's slime ball, fake Jet fan. Hetty says, I don't know, because Allen has sources around the league. How's Joe Judge to the Jets going, Allen? You got Ballsack Sports about that one. Joseph says, trade for Shador. Hey, his trade value is going to be astronomical now. He made the Pro Bowl. NY Jets fandom. AG should re-sign and hire Rex. Reich is the best we could do. Or he should resign. You know what the best they could do was? Engstrand. Just keep him. J. Rod says, final super chat, Jake. Thanks for an amazing show. Hetty says, remember when Allen wanted Glenn? We have the receipt. Yeah, that was his choice. Just like Lenora Sellers was the top quarterback in October. People's opinions change with new information. I don't hold that against Allen. But when he comes in and he's like, Tanner said, F off the Glenn, and the Jets are just doing PR spin, we have no idea of knowing that. He's under contract as well. So it's being reported the Jets fired him. So that means the Jets are paying him to not coach. But Glenn was saying that he was going to be on the staff. They didn't want to get rid of him. So he can't just leave. The Jets would have his rights. They either mutually agreed to part ways or that he was fired. The reporting indicates he's been fired. If there's new information, we'll adjust. But again, does it really matter? Who cares about the semantics? More calls. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line right now is a man revered in this community.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Hi, Jake. How you doing?
Hello, Bobby.
Oh, this is my plan for next year. We won't practice next year because I don't think we have good practices. No, that was Aaron Glenn. I think you're right. I agree that he should get fired. This team sucks. Look what the Steelers just did today. They hired Mike McCarthy. That was great signing. You know that? And I think Woody should go into the nursing home. I think it's time for him to enter a nursing home. He's like senile. He's a senile old man. You agree with that?
I don't know if he's senile. I do think he's old. He's, I believe, 77 or 78.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He should sell the team, like you said. Sell the team. He stinks.
He's 78.
He's not a good owner.
But he gives
You know?
hugs.
And then McDermott. Oh, who gives it back to his hugs? And Aaron Glenn
I
should
hug
get
him every
fired.
day.
I think
I hug him every day.
McDermott should be on the team. It's a good team. Good signing, right? Is he offensive coach? No.
He's a defensive coach.
Okay, what's the ones that you like as an offensive coach?
Right now, the only guy that I think is that you could get with previous experience, maybe Cliff Kingsbury, who's still out there, I believe, and then
Yeah, he's good.
you could try and hire Clint Kubiak, who's the OC for Seattle, but
Oh, I
can't.
don't think he's leaving that team. No way he's leaving that team. And
Probably
then
not.
I want to give Rabel he did a great job in coaching it. I don't care. People tell me that, oh, you're not a true Jet fan. But I'm telling you, I think he did a great job. Do you agree with me?
Do I think Mike Vrabel's done a great job? Yeah, he's in the Super Bowl in his first year, Bob, of course. Absolutely. Mike Vrabel's done a phenomenal job. He's a great coach. That's why I desperately wanted the Jets to hire him. And of course, the Patriots were like, we're not going to let that happen. So they fired Mayo, and they obviously got Mike Vrabel. They could have had Mike Vrabel a year before, though. That's what bothers me. 2023, they kept Saleh. They fired Saleh. They would have had Vrabel going into 2024. Him and Rodgers had a relationship. Vrabel would have taken the job then. He didn't get a job. But they retained Saleh. They gave everyone a mulligan because Rodgers got hurt 4 plays in. And Woody clearly had cold feet on Saleh. He gave him 5 games. He fired him with the Jets at 2-3. Nightmare. Good to see you, Bobby. The scruff you have, tremendous. The Turtle Club says Damian Woody is laying into Woody. That's a tongue twister. Damian Woody is laying into Woody. Well, let's see what D Wood has tweeted then and see if it's worth mentioning. Damian Woody tweeted the following. So the Jets fired damn near the whole staff. Why not just wipe the slate clean at this rate? I mean, isn't that more about Aaron Glenn and Woody? Right? What a mess. Absolute mess. More of your calls right now. Last chance to get a super chat read. I closed down the call line because I'm trying to make it over to the practice to watch the Senior Bowl. But as I was leaving, for those just tuning in, breaking news, Tanner Engstrand fired. So I stopped what I was doing and did an emergency show. But I got my pass right here to get on the field and watch practice and talk about some prospects. And, well, the Jets are the Jets. So here we go.
Jet wagons are always cooking, which it takes. Jet wagons even cooking at the game. Jet wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Jet wagon.
Hey Jake, I think the Jets did Tanner a favor by getting rid of him. Being demoted after you've done, a pretty good year as your first time as an OC, and then all of a sudden get played like he was getting played by AG and the staff. I think it was better just to cut ties and let him just go. That's my opinion. I'm sure other people would have a different take on that. And earlier you said about, Jets probably being the top 3 picking next year. If I was Vegas, I would probably set the over-under at 4.5 wins. And it would be very tough for me to pick the over on that.
I would say the Jets and the Browns, if I had to project right now what the win totals would be, they each would probably be around 4.5 going into next year, which would be tied for the lowest in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't know how I could put hard-earned money on the over on that. I'm glad to see that you made it to Alabama safe and sound, especially with the storm. So I'm glad to see you're
Hold on
all
a second,
safe.
Chuck Wagon. Jets Forever number 2 says, give my entries to the raffle to Chuck Wagon. Holy hell. That is what? That is 40 raffle tickets for Chuck Wagon for next week's raffle, which will feature a signed Garrett Wilson helmet, among other prizes. That is unbelievably nice of you, Jets Forever number 2. Wow.
Wow, thank you, sir. That is very nice. That's the same one from England that called in earlier, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Well, thank you, sir. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's good to be Chuck Wagon. Damn. Good call, Mr. Wagon. I'll give you a hug on the way out, all right?
Oh, thank you.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Big thank you again to this amazing community. You guys are the best. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it rolling.
Honestly, Jake, can you guys hear me?
Vagina boob.
Oh, man. Did you see that move that Tanner Engstrand was fired? Probably the dumbest move I've ever seen. It just shows Aaron Glenn's incompetent. And honestly, for the Blue Lickers, what does Aaron Glenn do as a head coach? He is terrible. He's the worst Jets coach I've ever seen. Did you see that? This what's it called again? This tenure with Aaron Glenn is really total levels of ineptitude. Like, look how bad it is. We demoted OC 3 weeks later. Worst move I've ever seen. Wilkes is fired. 7 assistants are fired. Why are we not firing Aaron Glenn? He's the worst Jets head coach I've ever seen. Look at the market. Look at the coaches on the market. John Harbaugh. Woody Johnson says, I don't have the balls to fire Glenn. Get Harbaugh on the market. It would turn around the team. Tomlin's on the market. McDermott's on the market. Stefanski's on the market. Like, come on. You couldn't fire Aaron Glenn and get those a proven head coach? And it's still, like, Tomlin's on the market. Granted, he might not coach. Honestly, McDermott's on the market. Why not just fire Aaron Glenn tomorrow and maybe get McDermott? He can end this 15-year playoff drought, honestly. But really, Woody Johnson's like, thinking's overrated, really. Like, come on. In April, Aaron Glenn's like, we're here to win now. Aaron, Glenn, when is the winning going to start? 2027? Really? Like, you're not going to win here. You're terrible. Like, I've never seen this bad of a Jets team. And honestly, and you can think Adam Gase is worse, bro. The last 5 games alone, we had the worst DVOA in NFL history. If it wasn't for our special teams, we would have the 3rd worst DVOA in NFL history. What do you guys' opinion on me doing a backflip through this orange wall?
I feel like when Mad Max is on, I'm listening to like a younger version of myself on cocaine, Red Bull, Adderall, Vyvanse. Truly incredible. Thank you, Mad Max. Hey, by the way, these are a hot seller this afternoon. During this live stream alone, I've sold 5 shirts for the March for Arch. Amazing. This started off as a bit. Then someone made a logo for it. We were like, I'll put it on a shirt. And people keep buying them. Amazing. This fan base. All we have is just the 2027 draft. Not this year's draft, but the 2027 draft. Because we might be able to get a quarterback. And then that makes our job attractive for a head coach. The funniest thing is I saw Brian Costello goes, the Jets have won plenty of off seasons in my time around the team. It feels like Aaron Glenn is down 21-0 in the first quarter right now. And what's great is that's Aaron Glenn's specialty, so it makes sense. That's an accurate assessment by Kaz. Amazing. It's just God. Aria with a super chat. He writes in, Parcells during that documentary with Belichick showed he hated the Jets, wouldn't walk into our locker room, said we're not going in, yet take his opinion on the head coach. Also another Broncos, Sean Payton, bad recommendation. Yeah, again, Aaron Glenn, like the coaching candidate, he was a name people were considering. I don't think he was like, oh, how could they hire this guy? It came out of nowhere. But my biggest issue from the beginning with hiring Aaron Glenn was the fact that he was the first-time head coach from a defensive background. We've done this. The league is all trending towards offense. And if you're going to hire a defensive head coach, it needs to be someone who's proven, with experience, that's done the job. Asking these guys to learn on the job in New York when your playoff drought is 15 years and counting is not a way to run your business. That's not a plan. And Aaron Glenn was swimming on the job in year one. He admitted as much. He has no idea what he's doing. Everything he said he would enact and put in place, it's been the opposite. He's a disaster in all aspects of the job. And now you fire Engstrand on January 27th. There is no plan.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
That is the New York Jets, and that is Aaron Glenn. Go get on another plane, go to Cabo, take another vacation. Who want to fly United Economy Plus and resign as the head coach of the Jets because you're a disgrace?
Fuck you, Jake Asman.
Disgrace. Get rid of him. He has no idea what he's doing, and this fan base deserves so much better.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
And I go back and forth on this because part of me is like, do we just stick it out for one more year? But it's like, no, you know what? No, I'm not throwing away a year. I still could get someone way better than Glenn right now. Tomlin, call him, give him the Godfather offer. McDermott, call him. Call McCown up if you want to go offensive guy. Just we're throwing away another year. This guy is so obviously inept. The only comp that we had for a guy who fired their DC and OC after a year where they lost 4 games or less is Hugh Jackson. That's the only example. Who went 1-15 his first year and then 0-16 his second year. Ugh. Brutal. It's unreal. All right, one last call. Today's closer is a man who always brings it with intensity, passion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to say hello to this man.
That had a kick to it. What a nightmare from hell this is going to be. You know, the first thing I would do, I would get rid of Aaron Glenn right on the spot. I will do this in a big way. $3 billion to start off with. Red tape will be cut. We're going to cut a lot of red tape. 8 players. I will dump. I'll throw them right on the spot and say, hey, you had a great run here, but your time is up. Got to go. We need new, fresh blood, and we need it now. I'm talking fresh, right off the fucking market. No mercy intended. We're going to reinstall the discipline code. We're going to bring back an attitude. We're going to bring back another thing called teamwork. And another thing we're going to bring back is cooperation. This team has lacked it for so goddamn long. It's embarrassing to watch. You think I'm going to put up another 20 more years of watching this shit show? You bet your sorry ass I will. I'll take it with me, even if I got to go in the goddamn grave with me. And I'll take a Jets jersey and my cross and even my Bible and lay in the grave because this is what real men do. Real men die for this stuff, and I'm going to die with it. Even if I'm 60 or 70 or 80 years old, I'll take it with me. And you can bet your ass I will do it with power. And I'm going to tell you one more thing. I know who to hire, and I got the best men to hire. I got 5 stallions that can take this job to the limit. I got 5 of them. I know who I'm going to hire, and I know who I want because it's going to take every bit of everything I got left. Even if I got to crawl out of goddamn bed in pain with a broken shoulder and still got to come to work every day, work until you're drop dead flat on your back, waiting for another hospital bed. You think I'm ready for this? Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. See, this is just the beginning. See, this ain't the end of the beginning. Jake Roberts once said these words, this ain't even the beginning of the end. This ain't even the end of the beginning. We've only just begun. And just remember these words. We've only just begun. There's nowhere to run. Sure, It's going to be a black year. It's going to be dark. It's going to be shit. But you know what we're still going to do? We're going to get up. We're still going to cheer for our boys. And you know
Speaking
what?
of shit.
I'm going to bet you 10.
gas right now.
I'm going to bet you 10 grand that MetLife Stadium will be a complete You know what I mean by empty? You're
I
gonna
got
see it.
gas right now.
So get ready. I'm going to hold you to it, Jake. 10 grand. We're going to have a complete empty stadium because nobody is going to show up. Unless you want stars, you got to hire this star. And I'll bring my 5 stallions with me because my 5 stallions will put those boys in check. And we're going to do it the old-fashioned way.
You
Pay
tell me
your
how
dues.
crazy I am.
I just took 4 chair headshots.
I hope everyone's feeling a little better after we got a little daily beast at the end of this emergency breaking news live stream. Well done, Beast. I love your plan. Amen. I'm in great pain. You all are in great pain. But we're all in this together. Big thank you to everyone who still watches this show. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. We are going to be live from the Senior Bowl all week. We were live this morning. Dom and Dylan were on with me. We were joined by Tony Pauline, who's an NFL reporter, insider. He's a Jet fan. He's been a season ticket holder since 1989, so he came on with us. We'll have prospect interviews starting tomorrow morning. Wow, how about this? One of my biggest haters on X is watching the show. Jake, I never agreed on firing Glenn as you suggested until now. Yeah, all the people who doubted me, remember this. You're all going to regret actually thinking that Aaron Glenn has an idea what he's doing. We're all going down together, though. The Glenn bootlickers included. So, hey, it is what it is. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. Thanks to everyone's support. You know, people watching a Jet show year-round is why we're able to, you go to the Senior Bowl. I'm going to be in San Fran next week at the Super Bowl. We'll be at the Combine. You guys make it possible. The Jets have been so bad for so long, but this fan base deserves more, and we all love this team still. So one day that loyalty will hopefully be rewarded. Until then, we have each other. Go Jets. I'll talk to you guys soon, and thanks again for tuning into the show. Love all of you.
Down in Tampa where the sun beats down, Jake Asman's a king wearing his birthday crown. Fireman Ed's got the chant in his alarms, and Earl Christie's here where the legends are sung. We may not win, but we'll make it right. Green and white storm in the floor tonight. As Maniacs Unite, let's paint this town from the bay to the sky. We'll never back down. Rick and Dave steal the show. Hearts on fire, 4%ers bring the heat, lifting us higher. Tampa's turning green tonight as Maniacs Unite. Tailgates roar, the beer flows cold. Stories of battles both new and old. The Jets might stumble, but we'll stand tall. In this wild green army, we answer the call. The stadium's loud, the flags take flight. We're here to party, not just for the fight. As Maniacs Unite, let's paint this town from the bay to the sky. We'll never back down. Rick and Dave steal the show. Hearts on fire, 4%ers bring the heat, lifting us higher. Tampa's turning green tonight as Maniacs Unite. unite.
Joining us right now is a new member of the ESPN family. He's also an old...
Nobody gives a shit.
Hold on. I'm having some glitches here, Rich.
Oh, that was great. That was perfect. Nobody gives a shit.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.